every time.
I'm just waiting for you to pull out the high noon, like 6-shooter.
Thomas Baloukas, co-founder of Louks Brewery from Montreal, Canada.
Yeah.
My friend since 1990.
Something like
Ish?
that. Yeah.
Nice
early
to see you.
90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah.
My first friend.
First friend.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good. And you?
I'm pretty damn good. Let's do the fade, you know?
Yeah.
See, it's fading out because this is a professional podcast.
Oh, it's the most professional.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan ain't got shit on this.
I don't know about that, but sure, I'll go with that. Well, he has a team. Like, he has young Jamie.
Yeah.
You know, who's doing the camera back and forth, switching. Yeah. He's managing this. But this is a lean operation. As you know, when you're starting a business, you got to start it lean.
Lean is mean, man.
Well, or else, first of all, you don't have the knowledge. Even if you were given $5 million to start your operation, you'd blow it because you don't even know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was, like, starting the brewery, there was so many times that we spent money on things that we thought we needed and turns out didn't help us in any way.
Yeah, and then you're like shopping for those things, and you're like, yeah, I do need the deluxe mega mode.
Yeah.
And you don't even fucking use that thing, and you know?
They made me use it once and then it's just sitting collecting dust.
It just sucks. So you, my friend, are you're a businessman. You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You started a business.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the trillions in the Galactic Federation
All right.
what you did to start your business or what inspired you?
So to make a very long story short, I was a home brewer before we started the brewery. And I was just having fun playing around with different ingredients and styles of beer. And to be honest, one day I was brewing a batch and my brother turns to me and says, why don't we do this? You know, so I got the idea. I started looking online and crunching numbers with my limited math skills. And we just saw that there was an opportunity to kind of hit the market with a new outlook for breweries or microbreweries. And we took it and we started developing recipes and trying to like ask our friends like which one of these recipes would be the better one. And then it just like we just went for it, you know, like there's only so much planning that we were able to accomplish before it's just like, you know, we have to pull the trigger on this and go forward and like really just, you know,
just get her going.
Yeah. Like rent the space. Once we basically incorporated and then rented a space, it was like, okay, we're in this now. There's no going back, you know, like it's do or die kind of thing. So
that's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah. It's both scary in a sense because like we knew no one else in the industry to kind of help guide us, right? We've had you, for instance, or my parents who've owned restaurants give us pointers about running a business or starting one. But to actually know what let's say the beer brewing industry is like, we didn't have any guidance at all. So we were going in this like with a very optimistic and open mind, and reality hits us pretty quickly.
Yeah, but I think that's important to have that optimistic outlook, that naivete. Well, because if no one had the naivete to go into it, no one would go into anything.
Yeah.
So it gave you enough juice and gusto to get started.
Exactly.
And then it's really, in the words of Dave Rose, you build the plane on the way down. Obviously, he didn't make up that quote, but he uses it.
Yeah.
You build the plane when you're falling off the cliff.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is.
Yeah.
You just have to have the faith in yourself that you can do it. Just bring up the mic a little closer so that, there we go. So it's nice and crisp.
Yeah.
And you're doing it. And I've been watching it. I used to come over on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And see you in the garage.
Yeah.
You know?
I used to brew in my parents' garage.
Yeah. Try some of your beer. Even then, I wasn't even really drinking beer, so I'd only take a sip. I still don't drink very much. You're the only beer I drink. This and Guinness.
Yeah.
And I'll have like 2 Guinness a year. Unless I'm in like, I don't know, Ireland on tour with opening for Liam Gallagher. And he's like, yo, you want to go get fucked up and drink 15 Guinness? I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, you like when in Rome, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a lot more relaxed because now I understand the stuff. I can flow better than just being, but at the beginning, I was just learning. But long story short, I was drinking those fucking beers in your garage.
Yeah. Stinking up the neighborhood, brewing beer. People, like our neighbors will walk by and be like, whoa, what are you doing? Cooking corn? And it's like, no, I'm making beer. So
Yeah. Isn't it funny how people come around, they're snooping around, they're like, hey, you're doing something.
Yeah.
You're doing something that is different.
yeah, because like how many people before I started homebrewing, I didn't even know that was a thing, right? So I used to make wine at home from time to time, like a little batch, 23 liters or so. And then one day I was just like, you know what, I want to see if you can make beer at home. And it just like started a very expensive hobby, you know, buying new equipment and kettles and propane burners and whatever to make beer. And then it was just like, you know, this is probably what I want to do. Because I was also afraid that I was going to be destined to join the family heritage of working in restaurants or owning a restaurant. So I was like, I really don't want to do that.
So you, being the brilliant man you are, said, I'm going to go into the most profitable sector of the restaurant business, which is booze.
Exactly.
Fuck the chicken wings and the burgers that are just break even.
Yeah.
Let's go straight to the source here.
Yeah.
Because I'm a savage. My name is Thomas Baloukas, and I make beer.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's it. And it's great. It's, you know, it gave us a new avenue. It's a new opportunity. We were able to learn a lot from this situation and growing the company now that we've been brewing for 3 years, but we've been operating for about 5 years now. And, you know, I think I've learned more in these 5 years than had I just worked in a corporate job somewhere or some other career, you know? So it's the room for growth when you start your own company, I think is infinite.
Yeah, because there's risk, there's reward,
Yep.
there's stress, there's responsibility.
Yep.
And those things allow you to tap into your survival instincts and to make things happen instincts in a far greater way or in a far faster way than if you were working for someone, right?
Yep.
Because now the burden is on you and your team
Yep.
to make things happen, and the environment changes, so you must adapt.
Yep.
Beers can explode, hot sauces can explode, these things happen.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to deal with it.
Exactly. And it's also I think for me, the biggest reward is, like, as much as I loved working at my previous jobs before I started the brewery, there's a limited, room for growth, right? Because there's other people in other positions that you have to kind of vie for control to get or whatever. So there's competition, and I'm not that competitive in that sense. Like when I work with a team of others, like I don't like being competitive amongst the same team, right? If we're all working towards the same goal, it's kind of shitty that now I'm going to try to usurp your position in the company because I want to get ahead and make, you know, an extra $5K a year kind of thing. So
your goal is always the outcome, the greater good.
Exactly.
So whatever it takes for the greater good.
Exactly. And at least if I am running the company, any decision I make, it's on me, and I will reap the benefits of said decisions. And I think that's the type of person I am, is that if I'm at the top, let's say, making these decisions and everything goes to shit, I can accept the responsibility for that. But for some reason, when someone's telling me to do something and then it messes up, I take it personally, right? And I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't be the one that's like, oh shit, even though it's not my fault, I'm still taking someone else's problem as personal. And, you know, for me, that's not the type of thing that I can do. So being able to make decisions and see the outcome, whether positive or negative, and learn from that, I think is better than...
And it's in real time. It doesn't have to go through multiple channels. That doesn't have to be
Exactly.
politics or or like, you don't have to dive deep.
Yeah.
You're a creative guy. You operate with a really great conscience. Yep. And that's just how you want to run your company. And working for someone, you can't really, you can't really tap into that. Maybe like sometimes you can. I have no idea, but I think the personality type that you've always been a creative thinker, you know, a man of science, you know, very, your attention to detail has always been fantastic. And you just want to make stuff. Like at the end of the day, you want to make stuff.
Exactly.
You rather make your own thing than sell someone else's thing.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, if you have that, you have to go on your own.
Yeah. I find if you're a very creative person, and not to say that I think everyone has a certain level of creativity. It's just how much you're willing to push your own creativity for your own goal rather than someone else's goal. In a sense that I've learned that I could be creative in any position, any job or anything like that, and come up with better ideas for possibly, increasing sales or better customer service or whatever. But at some point, I also don't want to give too much, because it's like that could be something that makes me a better person in the long run, and also in business sense could make me more money or be more profitable in a sense.
And I think it comes back to, you're the inventor.
Yeah.
Right? You have that inventor gene.
Yep.
I have that inventor gene.
Yeah.
And so you said a great point about creativity, because it's not like we're saying you can't be creative if you work for someone. No, anyone who's successful at what they do, at what they do, is able to be creative and find solutions and do amazing things.
Yep.
But your kind of creativity and mine is like we make stuff.
Yep.
Like we literally make it.
Yep.
Like we make the stuff. That's our
Yeah.
creativity. Some people, like, I need a creative salesperson to sell my stuff.
Yeah.
Because they have an ability to be creative in the sales domain, where I can't do that because I'm creating. Like, you got you have a team, you have a great new salesperson.
Yeah.
And they have a creative ability to sell the shit out of your beer.
Yeah. It's because, like, for the longest time, I think one of our...
Wait, the chair's just squeaking a little.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's for the audio.
Okay.
So just don't move around too much. It's a piece of shit chair. It's a budget restriction. I apologize to the members of the federation. It's not you, Baloukas. It's the chair.
All right. We got that out of the way. But, like, one thing that I suffer from is a sense of pride, right? And I think my pride sometimes gets the better of me. So for the longest time, I always thought we don't need a sales team, because my brother and Vera are fantastic salespeople. They go out on the road and whatever, but they themselves have never been in a position to push sales in any kind of domain, right? And whether it's, I don't know, insurance or in this case, beer. So with them, with their limitations and the fact that I have to be in the back brewing, because that's where my skills sets are best used, it was like, okay, I think we need to find someone. And we ended up, through our network, meeting up with the sales guy who's now pushing our product, and it's moving.
And he's selling pallets
of this
pallets,
stuff.
baby.
Pallets. So it's, it feels good seeing, like, at the end of the week we have, 70 to 80 cases of beer packaged, and then 2 days later it's out the door, the whole thing.
What an amazing thing.
It feels great, because sometimes you're sitting on some inventory and you're just like, oh, what's going on? Why is it not selling? Is there something wrong with it? It could just be the time that, if we release a porter, let's say in the summertime, it was, a bad decision. But this is, a full pallet is out the door.
That's the best. And so basically what I'm getting out of this is that when you hire people who are, or work with people in general who are specialists in their domain,
right,
then the whole of the organization or organism is the way I see a business, as an organism, because it functions with multiple components, just like our body. But, Vera and your brother have specialties, wasn't sales, but then again, when you're starting a company, you don't have an unlimited budget or experience.
So
you were just happy saying that, okay, well, I'm making the fucking beer.
Yeah.
Someone needs to do the sales. And they were doing it because it got you from point A to point B.
Exactly. And then we got from point B to point C by, saying, okay, there's limitations to each person's abilities.
Yeah.
And now we need someone whose sole purpose and sole, like, joy in life is to go out and push a sale.
Yeah, crush, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. Like, we took your advice about...
oh, God, what did I say? What did I say?
It was actually probably one of the best pieces of advice.
Oh,
shit. It was along the lines like, outsource whatever work, one, you don't want to do, or two, you have no idea how to do it.
Fair.
Right? So my brother, God bless his soul, he's tried his best to keep the books in order.
Well, he's a finance guy. He's a smart guy.
Exactly. But he studied finance, not accounting, right? So accountants will find discrepancies. They will know how things are supposed to be categorized in your ledgers and whatever.
All that horse shit that I have no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, to this day, I kind of know, I think I finally figured out what the difference between net and gross is when it comes to like profits or whatever. It's just like, for the longest time, I never knew the difference, right?
Yeah.
So
gross is the bigger number that you wish was the net.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So we took your advice and we found a guy who's an independent accountant, and he takes care of our books now. So he comes in once a month, looks at things and tells us how things are going or whatever. He helps us find grants and stuff like that. And we also have a guy to help us with grants. So
did the accountant introduce you to the grant guy?
no, the grant guy was from our neighbors who are in the coffee industry.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look, I love that. That's amazing. That's a wonderful thing.
So networking has worked in our favor because we got the sales guy, we've got the accountant, we've got the grant guy.
And your poor brother, who was so stressed about like the month ends.
Yeah.
Now
he's the one loading up.
Now doesn't have to fucking worry about it.
No, exactly. So he's the one now who loads up the truck, goes with the sales guy, and delivers the beer. So soon, we're hoping that we can hire someone to do that so my brother can focus on other aspects of the business.
Like finance stuff,
or, figuring out a new product line or I don't know.
So you initially were the one who came up with the concepts of the recipes, right?
Yeah.
Your brother, has he started tapping into that as well?
He has actually. So when we were home brewing, a lot of the recipes that we were testing was from my research and tests and stuff like that. But once we started the brewery, he has jumped in and he has created some recipes that I even brought for us to try today.
Whoa.
Yeah. Little product plug.
That's okay. That's what we're here to do. That's what the MISCHO podcast third party vibes is all about.
I figure if there's trillions of beings in the Federation, this is the best place to advertise.
Absolutely. This is it.
This is my Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, man. So soon we'll look at the product offering and we'll start sampling, I guess.
Yeah. So since we started brewing at the facility, my brother has created recipes as well. So he's jumped in, he's come in and said, "Oh, I've got this idea for a sour beer." And to me, at first, sour beers were not my thing. I wasn't into them. And he's like, "Let's just try it." So we brewed it and it turned out, and now I enjoy sour beers,
So was he the one who came up with the idea of all those sours that you have? Like the blueberry and is it the cherry?
Yeah, the blueberry, the cherry, the Carina, which is a sour IPA.
And you have the pina colada one?
That's a summer seasonal release that we do. So I took the idea of the sours, and I was the one that thought of coming up with the pina colada, right?
Okay, very nice.
I like pineapple and coconut. I was like,
so do
why
I.
not? Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
So I was like, why not? That's the beauty of brewing. Sometimes you can have an ingredient that you have in your mind, and you're just like, why not?
That's beautiful.
The porter, which I don't think I brought a can of it. The porter, I was just like, I want to brew with cocoa nibs. I want to brew with chocolate and see what I get out of it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like, because you've always been a creative guy. Like we bonded in our first, at 4 or 5 years old, whatever it was, on Legos.
Oh, fuck.
Right?
God damn. Lego is the...
Like what did we meet in kindergarten or something?
Yeah.
And we were just playing with Legos, building stuff.
Yep.
2 fucking creative, weird nerd guys. Just like working on Legos all the time.
We were into dinosaurs, Ninja Turtles, and Lego life.
Dude, is there anything more?
No, I think that's it. I think that's...
Does anything else matter?
No, even to this day, as an adult, like if, I wish I could go back in time to that.
I watched a show called The Toys That Made Us.
I've seen that advertised, but I never watched it.
Well, if you have Netflix, I'd check it out.
Okay.
Do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
At this point, it's like, who doesn't have Netflix?
Weird people.
Right?
Very weird people.
Because Netflix, they just had their quarterly sales report or something, whatever it is, and they didn't hit their targets of subscribers.
But like last year, they hit like 10 million new subscribers. That's pretty and they've already...
Well, they probably even hit more than that. But at a certain point, how many more subscribers can you get?
Yeah.
Because they have everyone has Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix and chill, man.
Yeah.
Everyone does it.
Well, even then, it's like they offer like a family package, right? So if one person in your family gets it, then like they could give an account to like 4 other members. So
yeah, I feel like that was a flawed move, but maybe it got everyone in.
I think that was the appeal. Like it's the same thing with Spotify. You could buy a single account for Spotify, or in our case, we have one Spotify family account, and my parents have Spotify. I have it too, and whatever. And it's
because it's just tough for them. Like imagine you're the sales team at Netflix, and you're like, okay, how do we get more people to get Netflix? It's like, okay, well, maybe you got to go off planet now.
Yeah,
What are places with no internet? Let's give them internet, and then they can have Netflix.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix is working with a back alley deal with Elon Musk, so that when they colonize Mars, they could set up a network over there to have Netflix.
That would be fun. At this point, like obviously I'm fucking around, and there are still places that are not widely connected. But it must be, if you're head of sales or head of business development at Netflix, you got to start getting real fucking creative.
Well, I think that's why now Netflix, what they're doing is, rather than try to probably get more clients or new subscribers, which is obviously a sign of growth for the company, but I would also think retention too is a big thing.
Because retention is a very key point.
And I think retention for any business is the key point, right?
How do you continue to offer value?
Exactly.
Beyond that thing that got them in.
Exactly.
Beyond that Stranger Things or that House of Cards, whatever it was.
Because to be honest, for me now, HBO, right? I signed up to HBO because of Game of Thrones. I had read the books and I was like, I got to watch the show and see how well they've transitioned from the books to the show. Yeah. There's no HBO, there's no Game of Thrones. There's nothing similar to it, I find, on any media platform until the new Lord of the Rings comes out from Amazon.
You know what the budget for that is?
Like $1 billion.
So, apparently they said somewhere around 400 million for season 1.
Yeah. And I think
the highest, it's like 10 times higher than whatever. So it's going to be crazy.
I hope so. And I'm looking forward to it. But, with Game of Thrones ending with that shitty ending season, and I can spend hours bitching about that.
Okay.
But I won't. But now for me, HBO is pretty much worthless because there's nothing on their value to me. So it's like I'm actually considering not subscribing anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like
what's who's a master of this is Disney.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, they know how to get you excited about a property.
Yeah.
And then keep you reeled in.
Well, I'm in
Mandalorian, right?
Mandalorian, and then a week after Mandalorian ended, because they're smart too by releasing one episode a week.
Yeah, so they know the drip. They know how to hit the algorithms on Twitter.
Exactly.
Then they get WandaVision.
Exactly.
And then the Winter Soldier. And these are properties that are kind of obscure. Star Wars, yes, Mandalorian, but it's new people.
Yeah.
But they got us in. WandaVision, I could give a fuck about Wanda or Vision.
Yeah.
But I watched it every week, even though the first 2 episodes, I wanted to blow my brains out. It got good.
Yeah.
And now I haven't watched the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Neither have I. And I'm a huge Captain America fan. I was super happy.
You couldn't do him dirty like that?
No, I think, because to me, Captain America is not the actual person, but what he represents, right? Because in the movies with Chris Evans as Captain America, he's representing you stick to your guns no matter what the consequences can be because you think you're right. When when the Civil War happens, he thinks that signing on to the Accords so that they're overseen by a United Nations kind of control group or whatever, and he's saying no, we need to have the freedom to act quickly on things, and he's stuck to his guns. But it's also the honor that he has, the doing what's right regardless of the outcome kind of thing. To me, that speaks a lot for a character. So I'm speculating on the show, if now Falcon can follow through on that and kind of have the same values, then he is Captain America. And I think that's the cool thing, is that Captain America is not a person. It's not like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a person, right?
Yeah. So you're saying that Captain America is more of an idea.
Exactly.
He represents something.
Yeah, exactly. So when he was able to lift Mjolnir, and start kicking Thanos' ass,
Mjolnir.
Yeah.
That's Thor's hammer.
Exactly. So to me, I think that's a cool aspect of Captain America, and it's a virtue that I try to also sort of try to emulate myself.
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it. But so why haven't you watched the show? Just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
Same as me. I haven't been that excited to see it.
I'm torn. I'm just probably also going to wait till everything airs and then watch, because I still haven't even seen The Mandalorian season 1 or 2.
What?
Yeah.
So you don't have Disney Plus?
No.
Okay.
I do have access to it, but I just haven't really watched anything.
Okay, that's cool. Production value is amazing.
Yeah.
Everything's great. But so going back to what we were talking about, they're continuing to add value.
Yeah.
Right? HBO Max now, the streaming service, which
Yeah.
I don't even think is available here.
It's
in Canada.
It's Craven HBO here in Canada.
Okay. But, Justice League, Godzilla Kong.
Mortal Kombat came out last night.
I watched it last night.
But it's like $25 to rent.
Yeah, I know. Well, because it's not in theaters, right?
I know.
So they have to.
I know.
How badly do you want to watch it, really?
I kind of do, but I'm not going to pay $25, Like, that's the...
Yeah, but it's Mortal Kombat.
I know.
I watched it.
Any good?
It was gratuitous.
Okay.
In every way.
Was it was the production value better than the originals?
Way better.
Okay. Because, I know the originals at the time,
were decent for their day.
Yeah. But, for today's day and age in movies...
it looked great.
It looked great? Okay.
It looked great. And it was self-aware. It was fun and goofy.
Okay, that's a big
thing. It was actually funnier
than
I remember. There's a lot of chirping.
Yeah.
Raiden was actually pretty funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's...
So look, you had a good week. You're telling me how fucking high your sales are once you spend the fucking 25 bones. Or you'd wait.
Because I ended up buying a model for my hobby, so it's like...
Okay. All right, it's okay. Hey, man, it's all about choices.
Yeah.
But back to the toys that made us,
Yeah.
which started this whole deviation. I watched Ninja Turtles episode, and they talk about how the inception of Ninja Turtles and how the merchandising became incredible.
Yeah.
And how... there's collector's items and how it took the world by storm.
Yeah.
Another episode I watched was Power Rangers.
Oh my God.
And Power Rangers, how it started, it was a music guy. I speak about this in almost every fucking podcast.
I listened to your episode from last week, or 2 weeks ago about Saban.
Yeah.
And he, he pitched an idea. No one was biting for
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
This guy was still trying, and someone said, you know what? We need a Saturday morning cartoon slot,
and he sold a shitload of toys, man.
Yeah.
Because it was working in Japan.
Yeah.
And he found a way to make it cheaper by just licensing.
Yeah.
But long story short, the toys. So you tell an amazing story with characters that you love, whether it be Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, what do you call it? It could be Star Trek.
Yeah.
What's the other one I'm thinking? Transformers.
Yeah.
And you make the story, you put it out consistently, and then you sell a bunch of toys.
Yeah.
Which to me, in my business art mind, is the most amazing way to create a world, create a universe, deliver value to people.
Yeah.
Because they love the characters. You're part of their lives. And then you can sell merchandise that becomes collectible. And now with digital collectibles, it helps the creators as well. Everything's connected. It's beautiful. Well, so I'm so jazzed on it. That's why I want to create my comic book and do all that thing.
George Lucas, his end goal was, it was to make the movies and create a universe, but I think one of his end goals was the merchandise, right? He was able to sell Star Wars to Disney for $4 billion because it came with the licensing rights to the toys.
Exactly.
The merchandise.
Exactly.
Every t-shirt that's made that's got printed with Darth Vader's face on it, or every Lego set that's Lego Star Wars, or video games and stuff like that. There is an infinite pool of money that can come from this, and George Lucas saw that as the ultimate goal.
Is that what was that the ultimate goal?
From what I understood, that was
or a goal.
It was a goal, but it was one of the bigger goals that he had was the merchandise.
Yeah, because I really resonate with that, because you got to understand that let's say when you're younger and you want to create art and you have you want to be pure and it's not about money, it's not about this and that. Well, if you want to make your art, you have to find a way to make it a business.
Yep.
Or else it ain't going to happen.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby. If you're doing something that you love and making no money from it, you need a job.
Yeah.
And that job is not going to be that thing that you love.
Exactly.
So licensing excites me so much because it allows you to put all your energy to create this amazing thing with characters and bonkers bananas things. We were talking about earlier, the feed and all those weird, crazy things that I post. But that was all culminating into this 5D universe that I'm creating that can only sustain itself and only turn into something else if I make a nice story with really cool, weird characters, with really fun social commentary.
Yeah.
And then sell stuff that goes with it and build a community of people who who love the characters, not me.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I always had a problem with the music. It's to be a successful artist, you have to be the kind of person who really wants to be upfront and wants to be loved.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. Because it's not me. I want to create things that people love, but I don't want to be the thing people love. I'm a flawed human. I'm a goofy character. I have opinions and perspectives that if I really shared, the whole world would think I'm a fucking disgrace. But in Dr. Algo, I can put elements of my personality. In MISCHO, I can put in the Time Travelers, right?
Yeah. Well, first I have a question for you.
Shoot.
When are we going to see a toy line of the Fifth Dimension Federation of Time Travelers?
Well, here, I'll show you something right now, okay? I'll show you something right now.
Right.
I've forgotten, and you'd be the sickest person to show this to. So, sorry, fellow time travelers, I can't show you this right now, but what it is concept art. Here, I'll show you the first concept of the fifth dimension being.
That's beautiful. That's amazing.
You see what's going on there?
They got the shine on your head in that one.
Yeah, and then it turned into this. So I was looking for an artist to make me a comic book style cover.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. I love it.
So
Folks, if you're listening on the airwaves in other dimensions or whatever, stay tuned for this.
Yeah. So where does it start is the question that I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Because is MISCHO and the fifth dimension and Dr. Algo, who's the arch nemesis, works for the machine.
Okay.
MISCHO is essentially, he's on Earth, but he's pretty much a sales rep for the Galactic Federation of Time Travelers.
All right.
You know? So he's trying to activate time travelers.
Okay.
Because when Earth was terraformed, there were many time travelers planted here. But part of their mission part of their challenge is to forget that they're time travelers.
Okay.
So they need to be reactivated to bring balance to the force, because the machine is in essence Matrix styles, just harvesting energy, just making sure that the cogs are spinning so that technology can evolve and go to a certain way in a certain place.
Okay.
But essentially, it's the GFTT, the Galactic Federation of Time Travelers, versus the machine. Okay. And they just need to be balanced. And so what I think is MISCHO is going to be this character who is a musician in this world, and with the power of vibration, activating time travelers, creating the time traveler community. And that's how I want to actually create a community of time travelers, almost like, in the streaming way, like you have subscribers or like people who pay for the streaming service. Well, I want to do the Transformers thing, the Power Rangers thing, but instead of having like which there will be toys, but there could be like subscriptions or like a kind of thing where you're delivering value.
Yeah.
And they're part of the Galactic Federation. They get access to NFTs, which is going to be kind of like a currency of the brand that they can invest in.
Yeah.
And essentially having time travelers across the world. I want to have 1 million time travelers to bring balance to the force. So it's with all of my shit that I make, does he believe it? Is it real? Is it a joke? And that's where I like to lie, in a place where no one knows what I'm doing or if they think I'm insane.
So I'm fortunate enough that I've known you for so long that like I joke to you that I think you're going insane with these things, but I know in reality this is your creative outlook. This is your way to express yourself, right? And I think it's fantastic. It's funny at times, and sometimes you say some things that like kind of resonates, like it like piques my interest, like, oh, he might be onto something here, like a fifth dimension or whatever. So when you start talking and acting like this, and by the way, the feed needs to be like, I think at least a weekly thing. Once a week, the feed needs to
Maybe
show.
That's the way it starts, is I start making the real characters of the feed.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just using like Arnold, and I'm using the Borg.
Yeah, and Donnie Deacus.
But yeah, that's what you were saying?
So I think I'm glad that you're able to express yourself like through this creative avenue, and the fact that you're becoming more like focused in figuring out how you want to market the MISCHO brand, how you want to grow yourself as an individual, and to also create a community. I think it's amazing. It's like inspiring.
Oh,
You know,
cool,
seeing
man.
you start focusing has translated to me being more focused at the brewery and having like certain goals and certain ambitions for the brewery in the near future or in like 10 years from now.
Yeah, because you want to do what you do in the best way possible.
Yeah.
To impact the most people possible. To have like a club, you know? Yeah. Oh, if you know, you know.
Exactly. Like, how often have you gone to a concert for a musician or whatever, and because you like their music, but then you end up talking to the guy sitting next to you, and then you kind of befriend this person because you're both into the same music, and you both figure out, like, you know,
we have a lot in common. We have a friend here, this, that. Oh, this guy knows that guy. You know,
exactly. And there's a community, right? So
exactly.
I think any avenue, you know, like Lady Gaga's got what are they? Her monsters,
Yeah.
right? If this is a group of fans that she's given a name to, and they feel like a part of a community, you know?
Exactly.
So for some of them, it's just they want to go to the concerts together to watch Lady Gaga. Some of them actually become friends and they help each other, you know,
Yeah, because everyone's looking for community. Even my brother, when he goes to the car meets and stuff like that, it's the same people. They always see each other. They become friends. Sometimes there's business opportunities that come from it. That's like my brother has gotten so many like business opportunities from the car community.
Yeah.
Because the community is really, what it really does is it destroys a bunch of layers.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, if you're into this kind of thing, it answers a bunch of questions that you wouldn't need to necessarily ask or be filtered out. And you're just like, oh yeah, well, if we're both here, it means we got a lot more in common than some stranger on the fucking street.
Exactly. And this happens just from everyone sharing one
common passion.
One common passion. For your brother, it's cars. For me, it's Warhammer and Magic the Gathering, you know? And for you, it's music.
Yeah, and that's why I find it like creativity for me is I look at other things, the way they operate. I use those formulas, but add new things to them that exist, right? So it's like, imagine taking the Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers formula, you know, show, toys, and then add streaming revenue. Like, look at Twitch people. How are they doing it? Well, they have tons of like subscribers. Okay, how do I? Because I would never ask people for money unless like they're really making it. Like unless they're getting something, right? Yeah. If you're a member of the Federation, and I haven't figured this out yet, what are you going to be getting from it? And because we were talking about retention. Yeah. I'm not the kind of person who's going to say subscribe, you get a one-time thing, and then it's like bullshit. No. Because I can't do that because I operate from that same code you do. Yeah. If I give someone, if someone is paying me for something, I want them to have the most bang for buck for what they're getting, so that they can't go without it. Yeah. And how to start it, who knows? Because is it a comic book? Is it just, because you got a lean operation too. Yeah. I found a great comic book artist. That's who helped me with that album cover. But it's like, do I do an album cover and then do a narration episode on Spotify, for example? Yeah. That, like, you see the cover, you can listen to episode 1, and if you want to buy the season, it's this much. Yeah. So it's like an audio comic book. And then I don't have to worry about illustrating pages, just a sick-ass cover for every comic. Yeah. And just being consistent with it. And then once you have enough numbers, just like you were talking about earlier, you can go to a publisher or you can go to an entertainment company. You can do all these things. Yeah. And who knows what can happen. But this is what I want to do because I love it. Yeah. And I always want to be a secondary character within the universe that I created. Like, I don't want it to be all about me. Yeah. I want it to be all about what I created. But like MISCHO would be more of a Zordon character than the actual time travelers. Because I'm not relatable. I'm really not. I'm bizarre. I have a fucking shaved head. I do things very oddly. So I'm not a relatable character, but the characters within should be relatable.
Which I think, I don't see why you won't be able to succeed in that in some aspect, you know, whether it's, you, like you said, you do your own audiobooks, right? Yeah. Like, in this case, comic books, because most times there's audiobooks, but I myself don't know is there an audio comic book where at least, let's say, you could see the I don't know what they're called, the screens or whatever,
the main artwork.
The main artwork for each page, and then it's you narrating the stuff, and then you can have some sound engineer in the background doing whatever. If there's like an explosion or like the time traveling sound or whatever, they just throw it in. So it's like,
so I just got to figure out and do like a lean version 1 to put it out there into the market to see if anybody gives a shit.
Exactly. Because money is not infinite, but the opportunities I find are infinite. There's infinite opportunities for you to try something and see if it succeeds or not.
Exactly.
But there is a money aspect. It's not like I'm saying,
if money wasn't if money was like no option, or what's the saying? Whatever. If there was infinite money to put into it, okay, there would be a comic book, there would be a cartoon. I'd fully make it. I'd go pitch it. I'd give Netflix a finished cartoon.
Yeah.
But I think there's inventiveness and ingenuity and creativity that has to come into play.
Yeah.
Because I've always been more excited about a great idea on a small budget than a so-so idea with a huge budget.
Yeah.
Because you're not on a huge budget with so-so ideas, you're not bringing anything new to the table. Yeah. But creativity doesn't require a massive budget, because that's what gets the spark. Because everyone's doing the thing that has always been done.
Yeah.
But very few people are doing the thing that hasn't been done because it hasn't been done.
Like, I'll use the video game Minecraft, for example. When it came out, it's literally Lego in a computer, right? Everything is block format or whatever. It was, I think, programmed originally on like Java or something, like it looks like a terrible game when it first came out. But it got to the point where there was such a huge following, and it was such a well put together game that they were constantly patching it and upgrading and adding new things to it or whatever. They eventually sold what probably cost them, let's say, $50,000 to produce it originally. They sold it for like over $1 billion to Microsoft, right? So it started off small, and that's what can happen with the MISCHO brand. It starts off small with certain little pockets of revenue that have potential to grow, but you yourself don't have the ability to input more cash into it.
All I can really do is show proof of concept.
Exactly.
And then that's all that banks or investors look for.
Yeah.
Proof of concept. You did the hard work.
Yeah.
Now let's blow it up.
Exactly. So there is...
Same as the brewery. It starts in your garage.
Yep.
Then you get a small place.
Yep.
And you have one little tank. And then you keep going. Now your place is full of tanks. It looks like a fucking laboratory.
Yeah. It looks like, what's his name?
What a beautiful setup you've got.
From Breaking Bad there, where you're like underneath the car wash, there are all the vats and everything.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking meth lab.
Yeah, minus the explosions. But
yeah, exactly.
But that's it. So it's, in our case, we start off with the 3 tanks to brew the beer. We start off with 1 fermenter and the carbonation tank. And then 3 months down the line, our business plan, the funny thing was, our business plan was to expand to a second fermentation vessel a year into the operation. Because we're like, okay, we're going to make a batch and sell it and this and that. But like 3 months in, we're sitting there like, fuck, we can't keep up with the demand. We have to get a second tank.
Yeah.
So we bought the second tank. And then like 3 months after that, we bought more tanks. And now we're at the point where there's no room in the brewery.
You need to rent another space.
Yeah.
You need to knock down the wall.
Pretty much. And, and also go vertical with the walls too, because the tanks start getting bigger.
But see, it's that evolution, that consistency, that it keeps growing and keep moving. And you've had the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And in the art world, it's been much more difficult for artists. Not that that's not difficult, but I mean to self-start before, because you would have to rely on a publisher for a comic book, right? You got to go pitch your comic book to a publisher.
Yeah.
You got to pitch your music to a record label.
Yeah.
And in doing so, first of all, it's very difficult to get signed. You have to still figure out how to show some kind of proof of concept of something.
Yeah.
But then the growth relies on you, the artist.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're developing something that is bigger than you, it doesn't need you to expand.
Yeah.
So that's why like a lot of artists burn out, right? And they live hard lives. They're always on the road. They're always, but that's why I want to invent characters and different worlds and things like that, because I want to be more of a Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Than a Leo DiCaprio. Not that fucking is a thing, but you know what I mean.
No, I totally get it. And I think I kind of lost my train of thought or what I wanted to say.
You were talking about the tanks and the growth and the brewery.
But it's along the lines of with art, right? Because music, comic books, they're a form of art. And it's tough for artists because For instance, I'm a huge metalhead, right? I love heavy metal music, and thanks to you, I got into Children of Bodom and Avenged Sevenfold, and
Rest in peace, Alexei.
Fuck, man, that was brutal.
That hit hard.
That hit hard. He's the first like celebrity that I followed that
Really?
I felt like
he just had a charisma, man. He didn't even talk that much.
No, it's just I think he poured his soul into the music.
You could feel it.
And his skill in playing the guitar was amazing. But that's another topic. But I think with art in general, it's hard for a lot of people to make something like, let's say, a good living out of it. Like you said, not burnt out on the road 24/7 trying to make something, because art is a lot more subjective, right? So in your aspect, you're trying to hit comic books, TV shows, music, whatever. So you're trying to expand and grow like a whole community around your brand, but also hit like different avenues that people will consume. Most artists, like, I don't listen to because they're not heavy metal. They're not like classic rock. So if you're a pop star in today's day and age, you don't have me as a listener. I might hear you on the radio, but I'm not going to actively seek out more of your material.
Yeah.
So it's hard for artists, whether it's a visual art or literary or musical, to really grow in the sense I think that they see themselves as like growing to the size of Metallica, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to appease everyone with it, but it's not to appease people. It's like...
But isn't that like everything? Like beer. Not everybody drinks beer.
Yeah, it's true. Not everyone drinks beer. And not a lot of people, and like a lot of people don't like our beer, or, I've read reviews of our beer sometimes and I laugh because they're pretty hysterical.
Okay.
People have given us 1-star reviews for our Japanese lager.
But it's your biggest seller though.
Yeah. And then they say, I don't like lagers too. So I like read the review. I'm like, then why'd you buy a lager if you don't like lagers, you know? But so in all aspects, I think, it's tough for people to grow, but I think when it comes to arts, like the arts, so music, whatever, I find it's a lot harder for people to make it big or to grow to like a certain size because of how much more subjective art is in all its forms as opposed to an actual physical product.
Yeah,
right?
that's definitely...
Like in our case, someone might not like beer, but they might drink our beer at a party. If everyone else is having a beer and someone throws them a can and says, here, try it,
Yeah.
At least we might have a chance to hook them. Whereas music, it's like if I hear a beat I don't like on the radio, I'll change the station. I'll put on Spotify or switch it.
But I don't think it's actually that different than a beer, because people have an option of 1 billion beers, right?
Yeah.
People have an option of 1 billion songs. It's up to the artist or the business person to market properly, to get their thing discovered, and to build a rapport that keeps them going, right? So, So it's like any other business. I understand though, like, I understand what you mean, but I think what most artists lack is a business model. Because if you keep putting out music, but you have no financial model, you don't have any targets, you don't have any goals. Like, there are bands that make this kind of math metal that 99.9% of the population doesn't listen to, but their business model, they sell recording software they sell literally programs for recording. They sell lessons. They sell so long story short, 80% of their revenue doesn't even come from their music.
Yeah.
But their music was the marketing to sell all the rest of their products.
Yep.
So that's how any big artist works. Their music is free. But the t-shirts, the concert sales, the licensing, the sync in movies and TV shows, all those things are the revenue generators. So you got to think about art as your networking tool.
Yeah.
It's what gets people in the door. But it's up to you to have a business model that allows you to continue to do it. If you think that you're going to make art and then someone's going to discover you and give you $1 billion, you're going to lose.
That was, I think, a bit of a fallacy that we fell into at the brewery at the very beginning, was that we're going to make beer where the new kids on the block, people are going to buy us. But it's like, you need the marketing. You need...
you got to work.
Yeah.
Every department. You got to be discovered.
Exactly. So
if you didn't have your marketing department, how well do you think the stop-ins would be?
Oh my God, it would be terrible.
But you have events. You have you have all kinds of things going. You constantly have social media posts and recipes and all these things. You're in the drip of your fans' consciousness. You're earning their follow, just like streamers have to earn their repeat customers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't see music or movies or comic books any different than beer or shoes, because.
So I guess the way I was talking about it wasn't clear, but it's like any product has that issue where, like, you know, I strictly buy Samsung phones or Android phones because I don't like some of the marketing and the stuff that Apple does with their phones. You know, I'm a big thing. I still want my audio jack in my phone, so I'm going to keep buying phones that have those audio jacks. Apple's like, we're done with that.
Yeah.
You know, so they lost me on that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Until they come back with it, then I might entertain the idea. But if they're making money off of not selling a phone with an audio jack now, you know, I'm one person out of a billion phones
exactly.
sold.
Their sales are still going up.
Exactly.
So you don't fit in their demographic.
Exactly.
Which is fine.
But it's along those lines that any product has that issue, right? You're going to make something and not everyone's going to like it. But I'm just trying to say, though, with the art stuff, music,
it's
whatever,
not a physical.
It's not physical because it's based on what you see or hear, right? So if something sounds appealing to me when I listen to it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow that artist and start following them. And, you know, you start discovering more through Spotify or whatever. Same thing with music.
So it's the music or the art itself is the marketing.
Yeah.
But you need to be converting something else.
Exactly.
Right.
So, unfortunately, now because of COVID, like there's no concerts, so a lot of these artists are.
Yeah, but if 99% of your revenue source comes from one thing, you're not diversified. Like like level one business, you have to if your sales are coming from only 20, like what the fuck am I trying to say? If more than 20% of your business is coming from one customer, you need more customers.
Yeah.
You need more big players. So if let's say 90% of your revenue is coming from thing, your business model is flawed.
Yeah.
Because as soon as one revenue stream is turned off, you're fucked. You have a bad business.
But is that what's happening now with the music industry in general? Is that like a lot of artists sign a deal and then most of their money just comes from the touring and the merchandise? Like, isn't that 99% where they don't have something else in case like a fucking global pandemic hits and they can't tour anymore?
Well, look at the greats. Look at Post Malone. Look at Drake. Let's just look at those two. They tour. They make a lot of money on tour, but they've invested in other things. Conor McGregor too. They have side products. They have businesses where they sell actual products.
Yeah.
They all have alcohol companies, I'm pretty sure. So they're selling.
Yeah.
They have a machine that's building. So if there's no touring, they don't give a fuck. They tour for the ego.
Yeah.
They don't even need it.
Yeah, I mean, I get that for the bigger guys, but like for, let's say, the up and comers or the, you know, like the.
Yeah, well, the up and comers are touring. They're making a little money, but they're mostly opening slots.
Yeah.
And those opening slots don't pay much because anybody could open.
Yeah.
If Blink comes to town and says, "Hey, MISCHO, you want to open?" I'll be like, "Yeah." How much you paying me? He's like, "How much you paying me?" Because everyone else wants to pay us to open.
Yeah.
Right. So all it means at the end of the day is you have to have multiple revenue streams.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And in your business yourself. So don't look at your business as one revenue stream. If you have different product lines, you have different things going on.
Yeah.
Those are different revenue streams.
And we did that for the brewery, right? We have the Louks Blonde with the original lineup. That's to sell and get out the door, volume beer.
Marketing.
And then we have, you know, in the hopes that these people buying this beer will then stumble upon our honey brown or our Japanese lager, the sours or the IPAs. And then, okay, I'll try this. I like their blonde ale. I'm going to try this. So we have the two lineups, right? One is a little more premium product, more in like those boutique stores and boutique restaurants and whatever. And then we have the other stuff that you can pick up at the corner dep, right? And it's two product lines, and then when
it gives your business more stability.
Yeah.
More not less seasonality, more consistency.
Exactly.
Because that's what you need. You need to be able to gauge and prepare and forecast.
Yeah.
And what they say is the most successful businesses, going back to the point of like not everybody will want your product. The more niche your product, the more successful you are.
Yeah.
The less niche your product is, the more competitive it is.
Yep.
Because if you have an everyman brand, you're a price competitor. You have so much competition that you're inundated by it. Your customer retention is very low because you don't stand for something. As soon as you start talking about your values, as soon as you start focusing your product, as soon as you make it as focused and narrow as possible, then you can actually focus. You can hit that hammer hard, and you can find that community of people who vibe with that, right? Like the people at the concert, they're vibing with that. But if it's so wide that there's, it's like walking in the street versus going to a concert. It's that same thing. So because I'm a glutton for marketing books and understanding how successful businesses work. And it's all about niche and focus. What did Apple do? They took away the jack, the input jack on the phone. They lost you as a customer. But what did they gain? They gained sales of their wireless Bluetooth products. They increased the value of their company. They sold a shitload more phones because they knew who they were and they weren't afraid
to piss off
certain people who don't even vibe with them anyway. So it's about, see what I mean? It's about making tough decisions. That's why a successful restaurant specializes. An unsuccessful restaurant does everything. The Greek way.
The Greek pirate way.
You want lasagna? Perfect. You want pizza? Perfect. You want sushi? Perfect. You know, we do it all. But if you do it all, you do nothing because you're not great at it.
And coming from a restaurant, speaking of that,
does that resonate a little?
God bless, but when your menu is 18 pages because you have 8 different pizzas and whatever and this and that, it's like the overhead costs of the food and
the inventory, and then it dies and spoils because you don't use enough of it, but there's minimum quantities. It's same thing as the garage door opener company, man. Let's have every product variation possible. And what did that do?
Just headaches for
you. It tore up our cash in inventory because we carried too many versions. So I wanted to get rid of 80% of our models, which was a very tough sell within the organization. It didn't happen. So I just said, see you later. I'm cashing out, my dude. I'm going to go do my own thing.
Because I remember when I would visit you at McCannon and, your warehouse was pretty big for the size company that you guys were. And half the warehouse was just the actual production and guys slapping the parts together or whatever. And then the other half of the warehouse was just racks and racks and pallets of parts. And I'm sure there was people whose sole responsibility was to keep inventory of stuff like that. But keeping track of everything. And then, like you said, for us, I'm lucky that there's companies that cater to small orders. So I don't have to order, a 1 metric ton of malt at a time. I can order 5 bags of malt if I need, but at some point, you're dealing with minimum orders. You're dealing with all this inventory. It's insane. I don't know how you put up with it for so long.
It was tough. It was tough. There was a lot of changes that needed to be made. But I don't know, man. That inventory was a disaster. And so how do you solve the inventory problem? Sell the company. And this is what I was trying to say. You were talking about specializing. In our inventory, let's say, positions, we didn't have someone who specialized in that. We had someone who had just been doing it. Let's say you were V1 sales, V2 sales was your brother and Vera. V2 just remained. So there was no expertise. It was just keep doing what we always do. Because we didn't invest in the proper in the proper people, in the proper resources. We did after, and it really helped us a shitload. But then what ended up happening was we just made our company a little bit more efficient, a little bit more profitable, and it made it easier to sell.
Do you think if the circumstances were different and your father didn't pass, do you think you would have had the same goals in the company to eventually switch it over and try to make it as lean as possible? Or
no chance.
Or because you were thrust into it so quickly and so unexpectedly?
It was sink or swim.
Okay.
To me, I didn't have access to the books before. I didn't see what was going on. I didn't even understand anything. I was just a salesman making sure I sold operators. That was my job. But as soon as I was in charge of the company and I started looking at it with clear eyes, I saw opportunities to improve efficiencies, to be more profitable, to build equity and value within the business.
Yeah.
So I had that motivation, and I also had the foresight to know that if we continued without evolving and without improving our processes, we were going to get swallowed up and destroyed by competition and fail and go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So to me, it was well, I'm at the helm of this. I want to make it as healthy as possible because it's about health. And if the company's healthy, then it grows.
Yeah.
If you try to grow it in an unhealthy way, which is what we did at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like there's a cancer inside there that just keeps festering. And
if you're not building on a great base, then it's just going to crumble.
Yeah.
So after a few years on the road of just like hitting hard sales and like 20, 30% growth month to month to month, we were tearing at the seams. And it's like, okay, now it's time to improve the shop floor design, to improve our inventory, to improve our cash flow, to everything.
Yeah.
And I had goals of 3 years of rebuilding. So then we can really do a big sales push and then build huge equity in the business. But what ended up happening was that 3 years of work was happening. And then we were approached to sell. And I said, well, sell now or do this for 5, 6, 7 more years and sell then.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be 40 years old and then get my freedom. I'm like, this is a fucking get out of jail free card right now.
Yeah.
And I had just experienced a sale of another company that I was a board member on. And so it was just open to me. And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's because you hear stories in the business world that someone held out from being bought out. I think it was like Snapchat.
Yeah.
Right? At one point, was it Facebook went to them to buy them out?
Yeah, for $1 billion.
For $1 billion. And they said, no, I'm going to wait out. Sometimes it works to your benefit to wait out selling the company. Sometimes it's like, you know what? And
I couldn't stand being in it anymore.
But you see, you and your brother, because I listened to your podcast when you had your brother on. And your brother also posted a lot of things about how like leaving the company was one of the best things
for sure
he did, because the situation you guys got put in there, and then having to clean things up to what you thought would be a better situation for everyone, but you're hit with like that wall of resistance from employees and family members.
We were trying to turn a taxi company into Uber.
Yeah.
And the only way to make Uber is to ignore the taxi company and start Uber.
Exactly. So for you guys then to have that opportunity where you and your brother were both like, this was never something we wanted to do to begin with, and we have to deal with this situation, and someone's coming now to basically, like you said, that get out of jail free.
Yeah.
That here it is, man. Here's our number with X amount of zeros at the end, and you sit there and say, you know what? Yeah, we're done. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let's do it. Because I also realized that as much fun as I had working in the company and dealing with the employees and dealing with the customers, the growth was capped.
Yeah.
I'm an inventive, creative guy. I want to create things. We didn't have the budget to truly invent anything. Our customers were doing $1 billion, not our customers, our competitors are doing $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
Their buying power, their engineers, they had more engineers
than you had employees.
Than we had employees. So when you look at it realistically, you look at your cash flow situation, you look at the way you run, you look at what you want to do, and then you look at the market. You're like, to think that it's possible to do what I want to do is insane, because the only move to be was to lean things out and just let it run as it always did. And this is as big of a company as it could ever be.
Yeah.
And as soon as I made that realization, it was like, I don't want to be in a company that can't grow.
Yeah. No, it's because of that creative side in you, right? And also I in my case, let's say we get to a certain point and, at some point, a lot of companies hit that wall where they can't grow anymore without a huge capital injection from someone else.
Exactly.
But then, is that the company you still want to work for after?
I wasn't interested. It's like, well, I can create and do anything, and this can give me the freedom to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I keep doing this? Are we changing the game? Is the product revolutionizing people's lives? Is it entertaining them?
Most people probably have some version of the McCann brand in their house or in their factory or whatever and don't even notice it. It's the guys who
They only notice it when it breaks, and then they don't even call us. They call the
the guy who installed it, or
the guy who installed it,
or whatever. Yeah.
So, and the only reason our customer bought it is because we were within 5% of market price. Like, it's not like we were creating anything that was fucking mind bending.
Yeah.
So I had no desire to be in that. Like, the creativity was tapped. I did as much as I could with the limited knowledge that I had. And essentially we took a company and made it valuable. It was already valuable. We just kind of adjusted a few things.
You took a working...
My dad did the fucking hard work, not me.
Yeah. Your dad started the company. He had to go get the clients and then, maintain them.
Which to me is the escape velocity is the hardest part.
Yeah. That it's getting clients, like, surprisingly, like, even if you're the new kid on the block, like in our case with the brewery, right? We're the new guy, we're coming in and whatever. And a lot of places didn't carry our product at first because we didn't have an IPA, because that was the thing that everyone was drinking, was these New England style IPAs. And we're like, well, that's not who we are. We purposely started the brewery because we don't want to be like every other brewery that's just pumping out these IPAs.
Yeah.
So it's tough to get the clients and then to retain the clients. And like your dad, he started that, and then you're now having to do, like, change the company's direction so that one, because you're probably stressed dealing with,
just as stressed as he was.
Yeah.
And I understand why he was so stressed, because running it the way it was being run, look, if you're competing with $1 billion company and selling for the same price,
yeah,
something is off.
Yeah.
So he had to maneuver a lot of things, and it was on like what are those lines there? You're walking the tightrope.
Yeah.
And so he did a fantastic job of managing banks and managing this and managing cash flow, but it's a tremendous stress. And I knew that the only way to build the company into something like, how do you take a $20 million company and turn it into a $100 million company or a $500 million company? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Because I can't just stay. Because if you stay, you die. There's no such thing as just like this. It's like that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it would require injection, a cash injection from a bigger company, or not even an investment company, because you need know-how, but a big company that has other products that can put through the pipeline, that can give you engineering dollars to be able to produce something that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, the only way that can happen is if I'm not in my seat and someone else comes in my seat.
Yeah.
And that's that same week that I had that revelation, we got a knock on the door.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful and so thankful, because that was a situation where you make a decision based on data that you understand, and is not the popular decision for the surrounding people, because everyone thinks what they want to think.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why would they do that? It's crazy. Because everyone's so fucking tight for money and worried about money. And they're like, oh my God, they have this cash cow.
Yeah.
Why would they get rid of it?
People will come to us when they found out when we first started the brewery. They're like, you're going to compete against Molson? It's like, why should Molson be the only beer brand out there? Like, there should be competition, but it's also like, it's not like a David and Goliath kind of situation. There's two different markets here, and like, we're going to start it off.
Exactly. And based on your business model, if your business model works for you,
yeah,
you can do anything you want.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Why would you have to compete against Molson? But these people don't understand anything about markets, about products, about sales, about running a business, marketing, nothing. You think there's just one? And then you just don't tell those people that.
Yeah.
Other people can't understand it because they're not living that, right?
Exactly. And sometimes they probably don't have the drive to do something as radical as that, right? Like in your case, it popped into my head. I'm sitting there when you said you had sold the company, and I was like, why is he selling the company? Like it's steady income. He could still probably hire someone to take over, and then he does his music and his 'cause at the I think at the time you were starting like Mick, like you were starting that. You hadn't fully committed to MISCHO and
MISCHO was like new.
Exactly. So for you, on my part, I was like, I don't think it's a good decision. But then having spoken to you, and then like you said, first you weren't happy. You were kind of like close to burning out in a sense. Like you were fed up or whatever. And then I understood at that point. I was like, okay, I get it. You know,
it wasn't just an emotion. Actually, it wasn't even an emotional thing. The numbers made no sense.
Yeah.
If we were growing, we were losing money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if anyone was sitting in my case looking at the numbers, the only reason they'd hold on is for ego, so that people think that things are amazing. But the stress versus I've made more money in the last 2 years after I've sold than I ever made when I was working there.
So,
and I invest in companies and make music.
Yeah.
So I knew that the money that I was going to get was going to go to way fucking easier, smarter decisions.
Yeah. But do you also, like, for instance, when you would wake up in the morning, when you had the company, when you would wake up in the morning, was there ever not a moment where you probably sat there and was like, fuck, I don't want to go to work today? You know, like, I'm going to stay home.
Yeah, at the end. I didn't go to work for a year at the end.
Okay, but like before that.
No, because I was pumped every single day.
Okay.
And as soon as I did my numbers and I looked at what it would realistically take to accomplish what I wanted to do, I said, I'm out.
Okay.
Because the resources that it would take, the rebuilding that it would take, the time. What do you think? I want to be 40, 50 years old trying to reinvent garage door fucking openers? Man, they open doors for buildings. If I'm not doing it, everyone else is doing. It's a saturated market.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. You're telling me you can give me millions of dollars right now, clear all that fucking shit, walk away on top?
Yeah. What?
Fucking right, I'm doing it. So it wasn't, oh, I'm burnt out. Oh, it's like I'm stressed. No, it's like this. I had clear eyes. You look at the numbers and you're like, the only way for this to make sense to me is if I fucking leave and I cash out. Because or else it's holding on to fucking balancing this, a shitty cash flow business.
Yeah.
No matter how profitable it was, there was never fucking any cash. It's like, come on.
I feel you.
It was nonsense. The only reason to hold on to it would be if you're afraid to show your competition what you're really doing.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
And that's a human nature thing. People don't like numbers because numbers tell the truth.
Yeah. Right.
All right. So what are we doing right now?
So right now we are going to enjoy the Carina. So hopefully it shows in the right way.
Okay. So what is the Carina?
So this was our endeavor into making a sour IPA.
So what the hell is a sour IPA? I don't know anything.
So an IPA is known as an India Pale Ale. In this case, we added a special bacteria, or in this case, a special yeast that will sour the beer. So normally when you drink a beer and it's sour, if it's not a specific style like a sour or Trappist or a Gosa or something like that, it means the beer's gone bad. But in this case, we purposely add, in this beer, we use the yeast called the Philly sour yeast, which will create like a lactic acid kind of sourness or acetic and a small amount of like acetic acid sourness to the beer and still ferment it at the same time. So some beers have a bacteria that's added to it to purposely sour the beer to give it that tart kind of face puckering sourness. In our case, we use a yeast that does that, and we did it with an IPA.
In layman's terms, because you just sounded like you were at a fucking beer convention talking to a fellow microbrewer.
We decided to experiment with flavors and a type of yeast.
Okay, and so what does Carina give us? What does it taste like if you were speaking to a layman like me or the trillions out there in the Galactic Federation?
I find it tastes a bit like orange juice with field berries, like wild berries in it.
Orange juice, wild berries. This is the Carina. What's the percentage? 6%? You trying to fuck? Are you trying to fuck me?
I could have brought the coffee stout at 9%.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
Cheers, dude. All right, first time I'm having a drink on the podcast. Fuck it. Oh man, that tastes like candy.
Yep.
That is so delicious. This is why you wanted to bring it out first.
Exactly.
Man, it tastes like Starburst.
You know what? I never even thought about that. So we'll send that message to the marketing team to market as Starburst.
Yeah, like Starburst used to have those drinks, right? Was it there were these Tropicana?
Or you think
no.
Capri Sun?
No, not Capri Sun.
No?
There was this drink that was, I'm sure it was a Starburst drink. No?
Maybe you had it in...
Like it was a fruit punch.
Maybe
that had like a wild color. It was it. I'm pretty sure that
Kool-Aid?
not Kool-Aid, not Kool-Aid. Here, let me just check.
Because maybe you had it when you were in Arizona, right? Maybe it was like an American thing.
Yeah. Let me. No. It wasn't American. It was. Let's see. Tropicana drinks. Tropicana drink. Am I nuts? Don't allow it. Let's see. Look, we're doing this. Tropicana drink, watermelon drink.
Could something?
No, it's not Tropicana. Starburst. Starburst drinks. I'll see. I could be totally wrong.
Because I don't remember. Because I remember Starburst came out with the fruit gushers at one point. The candies that had like supposedly real fruit juice on the inside.
Look, I'll find out what it is. But does anyone know there's these like, there were these drinks that had like, it looked very 90s and they were like purple or green.
Nah, man.
Sour burst. Fuck, I gotta find it.
Nah, man. I have no idea what you're talking about now. You lost me.
Fruit punch drink 90s. I'm gonna find it, okay? You ready? Drink 90s. Fruité?
Was it the fruité?
No, I don't know. I guess I'm fucking hallucinating, or it's a what do you call it? Mandela effect. Okay, fuck it. Sorry about that, fellow time travelers. This is delicious.
Yeah. So this was
when am I gonna start feeling happy?
4 sips in.
When am I gonna stop feeling sad?
I think 8 drinks in.
Okay, 8 sips in.
So this, folks, in the Federation, this was my brother's recipe. He's the one that's been working on the whole Galaxy beer lineup. So we had originally the NGC 2074.
I like it.
That was a double dry hopped IPA. So double, like, dry hopping is just it's a technique where after the beer's more or less done fermenting, we throw more hops in there to get more like aroma and flavor out of the hops. So it's almost like, you know, sprinkling more salt and pepper to like really jazz up the recipe. That's what dry hopping is.
Okay.
Then we came up with the Carina, where we're like, let's.
So how come you made all these crazy names and then you came up with Carina?
All the names are based off of nebula in the galaxy.
Wow, you're in the right place for that.
And remember, I called you up.
You gave me a grace call, or like a courtesy call.
Yeah, I gave you because like. So
tell the story to the trillions out there in the Federation.
So Vera, who is not just our marketing, but she does all the can designs and branding for Louks, and she's also a partner in the business. She was working on the can design for the NGC, and she came up with that like psychedelic green and blue that, if you follow her on Instagram, you'll see it. And she's like, looks like too much like a space thing. And you at the time had just released, I think, Photon Love.
Okay.
So when we're working on the can, and then she wanted to name it after Nebula too. So we're like, oh shit, this is way too close to MISCHO. And like, we post things on your page and you post on us. And like, so it's like, fuck, I feel like we're going to be stepping on his toes, you know?
And so you gave me a phone call.
So I gave you a phone call and I was like, yo, look.
I had the best answer. I hope you remember it.
I do. I'm getting to it.
Okay.
So like, I call you up and I'm like kind of nervous. I'm like, fuck, dude, like by chance I feel like we're stepping on your toes for this design. We're doing like a Galaxy class of IPA lineup. And your response was, the Galaxy is big enough for everyone.
Yeah, I said it's big enough for the both of us.
Yeah.
Yes. No shit.
So
more space, the better.
Exactly. So
we can collab.
Definitely, if that's a thing that you want. And now we just like have this fun with these IPAs. We have another one that's coming out very soon. All I could tell you, it tastes like a creamsicle.
Wow.
So we've got something like that coming up very soon. We're going to play around with different flavors. The pina colada is going to be coming back for the summer months. So we've got like...
So what else do you have in the bag that perhaps we can show the Galactic Federation and whoever's in Montreal watching? Because you can't ship it, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, Quebec alcohol laws are very antiquated. I can't even say that word. Old school. Old school.
There we go.
So you can only buy our beer in Quebec right now. You could buy it from retailers, dépanneurs, grocers, or come to the brewery at 777 Avenue La Joie in Dorval.
Perfect. Link will be in the description, fellow time travelers.
Perfect. So you can get something like the honey brown.
Here, as you talk about it, I'll throw it in my camera. It's a double screen. So what's the honey brown all about?
So the honey brown is basically, it's an English ale, but we brew it with honey. So we actually put real honey in there. And then we also use a special malt, which gives like a residual honey flavor in the beer.
Okay, so you're doubling up.
Yeah. So
is it sweeter than what I'm drinking right now?
I would say so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
and
God.
then we have our number one seller.
Oh,
the Japanese lager.
This to me is the most beautiful can you have.
So the story with this one was.
So this is the Japanese lager.
Yeah. So the story with this can was, I used to like sushi a lot. Okay, like I used to eat sushi, but
did you have a falling out?
No. The way I worded it sounds like I had a falling out, but it's more my wallet can't afford my sushi consumption. Like I need to eat like, hundreds of dollars worth of sushi to feel full.
Yeah.
So
we'll order sushi after this.
And there's a restaurant, I don't know if it's still around because of COVID or I think whatever, but it was Imadaki. They were on the corner of Atwater and St. Catherine Street.
Okay.
And I used to go there with my friends and family members, and like we would get shit-faced off of sake bombs, and I just eat like bowls of ramen noodles the whole time that I was there. And I always found that Sapporo was just like a generic beer. So I created the Japanese lager to be that like actual beer to pair with sushi and to consume with like Asian food. And when it came time for the can design, all I told Vera was, Vera, I want the cherry blossoms on there. You do whatever you want. She nailed it. That was her first attempt.
It's fucking perfect. Did the font change of Japanese lager? That looks different. Is that the original?
That's the original.
Okay.
That's the original.
I just love the way this can looks. It's beautiful.
It's a light, crisp
It's delicate.
Beer. It's very floral and aromatic.
And it's your number one seller?
It's our number one seller for the craft lineup.
And I always say is that like it's because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the rest are beautiful in their simplicity, but like almost because this is not subtle.
No.
Right? Like you see it.
Yeah.
You see it right out of the gate. So in my music, I like to make things that are not subtle.
Yeah.
I like to blast the audience because I want to be bold with my decisions, and like this is bold.
Yeah. And then shit, I'm making too much noise.
So it's like because I love talking about like the branding stuff because I'm an artist and I just love.
And then like I brought it the other one. This is our pale ale.
Pale ale.
This one I had fun with it because there was when we first got started, there weren't any hops that were like indigenous to Canada. So hops were grown in Canada, but there was nothing like, indigenous to Canada. And then when the time came for me to brew the pale ale, because I had an idea, there was two hops that were on the market that had been from Canada. One was called Sasquatch, and the other one's called Lumberjack. So I blended those hops to this beer, and
Sasquatch and Lumberjack, ladies and gentlemen.
And with this beer, it's all Canadian ingredients.
So why isn't there a fucking big Canadian flag on it? Don't tell me it's in the fine print on the line 14 in the back. No, but you know what I mean?
I think that was a decision that we made as a team that like it would just keep it simple for that one. That's like a good everyday beer.
It'd be a good test for Canada Day and make it fucking Canada flag.
We should try that.
Why not?
Yeah. To be honest, I
could be your art consultant.
At first I was always against like the big tacky packaging that a lot of other breweries do, where they have like way too wild of a design or whatever. But I had asked my friend like to just quickly sketch up a Sasquatch punching a lumberjack to put on the can.
Oh, and how'd that look?
He hadn't fully finished it until COVID hit, and then we were scrambling to. So it was a bit of like a time crunch thing because COVID hit.
Yeah.
And we needed to empty the tank. So we just needed to do something simple, but I still think that this can actually symbolizes the beer quite well.
Yeah, I don't know. It does. Look, it's all subjective. But a Canada thing that would say 100% Canadian pale ale.
Yeah.
Then boom, Canada's favorite beer.
Look, I don't want to get too much into politics, but we are in Quebec here, so like, there's a reason there's a reason why most of Canadians only sold like in the West Island, You know,
Well, maybe it's your best-selling beer in the West Island. But you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? Because I look at it from an art perspective. Why does Elton John, Lady Gaga, Freddie Mercury, why do all these people look a certain, even James Hetfield?
Yeah.
They have a look. It's
Yeah.
distinct. It pops.
Yep.
Because you got to be bold like that. You almost have to think of your product as, or yourself as an avatar.
Yeah.
That's why I got a spacesuit on. I'm not just wearing some normal thing. So, but this is very cool, space vibe.
Yep.
But like I'm saying, number one seller, take notes of why you think this might be fucking ripping. Other than it's delicious. People see it.
Yeah.
In my case, in my music, they see it before they hear it. They see yours before they taste it.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I get excited about this stuff.
That's it. And then like we had partnered with the local coffee roaster, the guys that are like down the street from us. And, you know, we use their coffee in our coffee stout. So we also experiment with different flavors. And like I said before, different ingredients, right? It's always fun. It's like cooking. Beer making is cooking. The only thing is I only know the results like a week or two after I've brewed it because it takes that long to ferment.
But you never put it out before you taste it, right?
No, there's been recipes that like that we had to throw out just because no matter how much I tried to like fix it or add more to it, it just never turned out. So it had to go down the drain. We had a banana stout that we were trying to work on
and you dumped it.
We had to dump the whole thing. You know, we had like 700 liters and try as we might, we added more bananas. We boiled and like mashed bananas to throw in. We added some lactose to thicken it to like accentuate the flavor. I think we're even considering putting like banana essence in there, and then we're just like, you know what? No. At this point, like it's done. Down the drain it goes. I've had we were supposed to release a maple pecan ale for this spring because in Canada, at least here in Quebec, you know, Cabana 6 season is a huge thing, and for some reason, the pecans weren't coming through. So like I tried boiling more pecans to put them in the beer.
You're like, how many fucking pecans does it take?
It took, there was like 8 kilos of pecans that went into a 300-liter batch of beer. And I still needed to add more. I still needed to roast more. It's like, so it is the name of the game. Like, how many times do you think Gordon Ramsay has had to cook his beef Wellington to get it to where he's happy with it?
But that's the nature of it. You got to dump things sometimes. I have songs that I've worked on that I've had to scrap that I don't put out.
That's why you put it on like a limited edition deluxe B-side record or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because but then you never know because you're so close to it that let's say you saved that banana beer and you tasted it 3 months later and you'd be like, oh, actually, it wasn't that bad. Yeah. But you never know.
But you know, it's a gamble because like you've got now. Let's say we went ahead with the banana stout. We have this product now, and if we're not confident in it and we're sitting on it, and hopefully you know it trickles out the door kind of thing, like it's not worth it because it might not sell at all. It might be a hit, but it's, you know, at the time when you have to make that call to say, okay, we're putting it to market. That's like that's the tough part. You know, it's. With the Japanese lager, I still think to this day, we've been brewing it for 3 years. I still think to this day, there's room for me to improve it, but I have to hear it from Matthew and Vera and you and my parents and whatever.
Yeah, don't
telling me it's perfect, but I still think, I'm sure you probably feel like that with some of your music, some of your songs. You're like, there's something I could have done.
Oh yeah.
But everyone's telling you, dude, don't touch it. It's perfect.
Yeah. But to me, that's always the process of mixing. Yeah. So mixing is when the song is done, it's complete. We send it to the mixer who listens to it with fresh ears and he puts it into his board and he compresses things and adds reverbs. And he takes a 2D recording, turns it into a 3D recording. Yeah. And when he sends the mix back, it's like, okay, vocals are a little low. This is a little this. And it could go for 1,000 revisions. And at a certain point, you're just like, you got to let it go. Yeah. And then once it's mastered and it's out and I listen to it 2 months later, it's like, it's perfect.
By the way, great. Boom, boom, boom.
You like it?
I am probably account for like half of the listens on that every day to work. Just before, like as soon as I get off on the 13 to the 520 to head to the brewery.
Well, I'm glad you like it because I don't even know if I'm a fan of it. Maybe because I've heard it too much.
But, I mean, even before I think Jules had recorded her parts, you had played me what you had. So like by the time you played me what you had, you probably had already heard it like a million times before that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you had what the vision was in your head of what you wanted to sound like too. So
Yeah. It really took a bunch of shapes and forms, and I've heard it so much that I'm desensitized. But when I listen back, I'll know. But now it's still too close.
yeah, because like in my case, one of the like I don't go out and do the sales at all, right? I think I went on one sales run once, and it was more just to do a delivery. But the one time I said to myself, "Holy shit!" Like we kind of made it, you know? Like I think we made it. Was I was walking downtown at the old port, just across Notre Dame Cathedral, and there's a dep that we sell, and
So to the trillions out there who might not know what a dep is, what is a dep?
it's a convenience store. It's a corner store.
That's
It's
what we
like,
call a convenience store
Yeah.
in Montreal, in
in
Quebec.
So it's like you could go in, and most of them are, you know, like you go buy your cigarettes, your beer, your magazines, or so popsicle or whatever. And this one that we were that our product was in is more like a cafe. It's called Le Petit Dep. I forgot. I'm not too familiar with my orientation downtown, but it's
Don't
right.
worry.
It's right across
The people listening are not
Yeah.
even from Montreal, so who gives a fuck?
Well, in case
You can
they-
make this all up.
This, you know, in case they decide to teleport here or
Yeah,
what's the means of transport in the Federation?
it's the human body.
The human body.
The human body is the machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if they physically want to be here, like how do they get from Quasar 4 to Earth?
Okay, well, I can't actually. I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
Understood. All right.
You'll have to tune into the comic book
Okay. So
because once it's out, I'll figure that out. Fair enough.
wing it till you have to
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, perfect.
Wing it till you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm walking downtown going to a party. This is pre-COVID when, you know, social gatherings can happen.
When you can advertise the parties you were going to.
Yeah. When you could fucking hug people. Like,
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm hugging people.
it depends. For me, it depends on the person.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Of course.
I'm not hugging a random dude on the street. Like,
Yeah. I've been hugging strangers. That's what I've been doing.
You do you. You do you. So, so I'm walking downtown. I'm walking right across the cathedral, and across the street is this Cafe Dep or whatever. And out walks like a group of 4 people, and they each have a different can of Louks in their hand. And at that point, I'm going to
You're
a party.
fucking mainstream, man.
Like I'm going to a party now. I've got it in my head. Like I'm in the zone. I'm gonna party. I'm gonna drink, and it's summertime. Get fucked up, kind of thing. You know, it's the weekend, and I see 4 people with my product in their hand, and like I had this realization, like, holy shit, people are actually buying it. Because like before, product was leaving the brewery, and that's it. You know, that's all I saw. But now seeing someone with it tangibly in their hands, I'm like, fuck, this feels good.
Man,
This is what it could feel like. You know, like.
that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That must be the most rewarding feeling in the world.
Yeah, and-
going to a random place and seeing people walk out with your fucking beer.
Exactly. It's amazing.
And I just had a visual. You were this one again. You were saying that we're in Quebec, right? And so Canada, Quebec, not so hot. This would be an example. If you made this the Canada flag, it would be your example of taking the input jack out.
yeah.
John Abbott College, McGill,
Yeah.
Concordia, all these things. Literally, the Canadian beer, they'd fucking destroy it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So you know what I mean in terms of branding and taking
Yeah.
a risk? Because if you're everything, you're nothing.
Because like another thing we did at the brewery was like, okay, our Carina and our IPAs are in the 473s.
Yeah.
So 473 ml. But we made a decision, and I was against it because we started all our beers in 473s or 16 ounce.
So 473 is the tall versus
Yeah.
the small. 355. And I only remember 355 because of the 355 Ferrari. F355, my favorite.
So for us, like we had originally started with the tall cans, and then it was a decision amongst the team to switch to the smaller cans. And I was against it. I was like, no, I think we should stick to it. But we switched to the smaller cans for everything non-IPA, and some people hated it, you know, and we
They hated the small cans?
yeah, they're like, oh, I want big cans, and you know what, small cans worked for us in the long run. So it's like,
You got to do what works for you.
yeah, exactly.
Have your sales gone up?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So keep doing because. And did the people who hate the small cans, were they already customers?
Some of them were.
Well, of course, because no one likes you to pull the rug under them and change what they're used to.
Exactly. Now, I don't know if these people are still buying our product or they're like, you know what? They switched the format. Fuck them. We're not doing it.
Listen, man, it's
By the
okay.
way-
You're going to lose. You can't have everyone as your customer. That's a fallacy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I think that's one of my flaws is that I want to appease everyone.
Yeah, because I hear you projecting that. And it's understand that the companies that did not appease to everyone are the successful ones. Tesla sold a fucking $150,000 electric car to a very specific market
Yeah.
that didn't appeal to fucking anybody except that specific market. And they're dominating. They're a leading fucking car manufacturer now. They didn't do everything to everyone. They didn't have every fucking...
They didn't reinvent the wheel because electric cars had been around.
They reinvented the engine. I don't know.
Not even. I think because electric cars have been around just as long as gasoline cars.
But this is actually...
But what
this is
they
going to
did-
take us on a good way.
But I think what's made Tesla so successful because like before that, did you ever see like other electric cars? They look like futuristic bubble like they look like giant Pac-Man cars. You know, like they didn't have.
They made them ugly.
Yeah, they purposely made them ugly so they don't sell, so they could still stick to producing
What works.
gasoline.
Yeah.
Gasoline or diesel engines. And then Tesla comes around, and I feel like Elon Musk was just like, why don't we actually make a car that looks like a car, but
That's
it's
good.
electric?
Yeah, but to say, what else did he do? He focused. Did he start a gas company and make one electric car like every other one was doing? No, he was narrower. So when he started, people were saying that he was insane because no one was going to buy that because it would appeal to no one.
Yeah.
But the smaller the amount you appeal, the smaller and stronger your community is, the more they become your advertising source and then make it mainstream.
Yeah.
So in the marketing curve, there's the innovator, then there's the first movers, and then / early adopters. But what makes it mainstream is that the cool people who got into this make it popular for everyone else, and they become your advertising source. If you're going into a company trying to appease the late adopters or the laggards, because that's where you're trying to appeal to everyone, you'll never have anything that appeals to anybody.
Well, and in the end, the result with Tesla, right? I don't know. It's been like over 10 years that Tesla's been producing the Model X or S. Or whatever. It's been 10 years, and then like 5 years ago, they came up with the Model 3. And look what happened because all he did was
Pre-sold too. They're all pre-sold.
Pre-sold. My cousin actually has a Model 3. It suits her and it looks great and she's happy with it, you know. But I think the end result that Tesla did was Ford now is even electrifying the Mustang. The most iconic American muscle car. Ford came out and said, we're making it electric.
And so why do you think they're doing that? Do you think because the Mustang sales are fucking through the roof, or they need a new strategy?
They need a new strategy. It also helps that a lot of governments are now incentivizing electric cars, but Ford taking the most iconic muscle car. I want to have, to this day, I still want to have a Mustang, a V8, you know, supercharge that sucker.
Your dream though is not that though. It's a
Camaro.
Camaro. Okay.
Camaro.
It's that Greek in you. It's that 1978 fucking Saint Laurent Greekster in you.
Exactly. Because my dad had a Camaro. I need to have a Camaro.
So did my dad.
I thought your dad was more Trans Am.
He had both.
Okay. But so for me, like you know, as much as it pains me to say, I still look at like a Camaro, and I even every so often I go spec it out to see the price, so like I know what targets I need to hit for the brewery to get it. But it's just like Tesla didn't change anything in terms of what the car is. He changed the whole market. In the end result, the market has changed now because Volkswagen's coming out with all electric fleet. Honda is like all these car companies.
He was ahead of the curve. Like he almost proved the model. You always have to have a pioneer to prove the concept, and then everyone else follows.
How many times did you hear in the news Tesla's failing because, you know, they're like 11:59 at midnight and the debt's going to be called at midnight, you know, like because they're not making sales.
But Elon Musk got big balls.
Yeah.
He believes in what he's doing.
But the end result though, like all that stress that he was going through to start up Tesla and to get it to where it is today, he not only made a successful car company, he does some things that I don't agree with, but that's like other things. but he's made a successful car company that has now changed the entire car industry.
How about SpaceX?
I think it's cool.
He's making space travel cheaper. He's landing them instead of blowing them up in the fucking sky.
Granted, though, a lot of the rockets don't really make it back sometimes. Like,
yeah, but that's called R&D.
Yeah. So until the
Yeah, but that's like saying you're learning how to play guitar without fucking up the song. They're just bigger stakes.
Where I'm going with it is, I'm only going to fly on a rocket that can return to space or return to Earth when the chances of it not blowing up are like, you know.
Well, but it's early days. It's
yeah.
like,
yeah.
But what he's doing is he's advertising where normal people would never talk about it. But he's using them as
NASA's
as
using
marketing.
NASA just launched one of some astronauts into the ISS, the International Space Station, with a Falcon X rocket. That's Tesla, I think.
Yeah,
right? Or,
of course it's
Elon,
yeah. It's Tesla. It's SpaceX.
SpaceX.
But why are they using SpaceX? Because NASA's been sleeping since they went to the moon.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I love that. He's a groundbreaker. He does all these things. And also their dealership model. They own their dealerships.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
because there's a lot of car dealerships are fucking greasy. I don't care how good you are. It's a racket, man.
So in my family, we drive a car till literally it's just held together by like the wheels and a few bolts. Like, you know, we don't change cars often. But your family, like, you guys are car guys. Your dad was a car guy. Yeah. I think your brother's more than you. Like,
yeah. Well, I love cars. I really do. But I only want to celebrate with like a new car. Like once my new business endeavors, like really start banging. Like if like MISCHO in the Fifth Dimension goes, and I'm going to get a McLaren or I'm going to get something crazy.
Okay.
But all that to say, yeah, we love cars.
So you guys,
and we never hold on to anything too long.
But you guys had to deal with dealerships constantly. Right, and then you go in and you're trying to haggle a deal and this and
no,
that.
Actually, never. No, I've never had to deal with dealerships because our leasing company that we used, we honestly never had a car long enough to ever even really have to go to dealership.
Because like, I just hate that whole thing.
I went from a Porsche GT3
to a Prius.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the customer service with Toyota versus Porsche was a completely different ballgame. Porsche, it was like trying to, I don't know if it was the particular dealership. I don't want to talk about all Porsche dealerships. But service from Toyota, 12 out of 10. Service with Porsche, I had to convince him that the sounds I was hearing were real and not a figment of my imagination. And he was like a fucking...
Yeah.
He was like trying to fucking scam me.
Yeah. And you would think, too, the price tag, too. Like, if you're paying... I don't know, what was the Porsche you had at the time was like, what? 150 more? 150 plus?
Yeah, $200,000 fucking Porsche GT3.
And you would think that they would have some sort of customer service like, okay, let's humor this guy, put it in the back.
The brakes would squeak, and I know with high-performance ceramic brake cars, the brakes squeak. And he's like, I'm like, is there any way to fix that? And he's like, no, man, that's what it is. There's nothing we can do. That's how it is.
Meanwhile, your Prius.
My Prius, the Prius can drive through your living room and you won't hear it.
But the Prius, Toyota produces 40,000 of these things a year minimum, probably a month.
Way more than that.
A month, 40,000 a month. And maybe one's a lemon that they then take back, no questions asked.
When Toyota and Honda came, they're both Japanese companies. Yeah. They came here in the mid-70s.
Something like, yeah.
And they dismantled the American car manufacturers because they sold cars that worked.
Yeah.
They built cars with the lean manufacturing Six Sigma process that made sure that the quality control was way up to par. Not only did they sell cars that were more fuel efficient, but that worked better, they were cheaper.
They were cheaper and they were easy to repair.
And what did the car manufacturers say? Americans are never going to buy Japanese cars. Yeah. Lower that price. See, the Japanese, they work with data.
Yeah.
That's why I work with Trin as my business consultant. Asian people, man, they're data. It doesn't they fucking spreadsheet hard.
Our sales guy, Chinese guy.
Fucking right. Hong Kong, a Greek and a Chinese is the ultimate fucking lethal weapon.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. So I think...
And Tesla...
Yeah.
Your car's fucked 80% of the time, software update.
Yeah.
You don't even have to go. Come on,
That's
man.
beauty. There's no...
Come on. It's not even fair.
Yeah. But that's it. And like... My mom had a 2007 Honda CR-V. That thing...
I remember that beast.
That was...
She gone?
Oh, rest in peace.
Since when?
Someone slammed
Last couple of years?
last year, someone slammed into the front of it and had to go to the scrapyard. Oh, that hurt. But
It's in the fifth dimension now.
yeah. But that car was great because, again, Honda, I can go to Canadian Tire and just get any spare part that I needed to fix that thing myself. Like that's the beauty of certain manufacturers or whatever, or certain companies. Like they still make things that could be fixed, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing burns me more than if I buy like phones today, you know, at one point, Apple, you can fix the broken screen yourself. You just have to get the special Tapcon screw or whatever it was called, and you can fix it yourself. But now they make it that if your screen cracks, you have to send it to them to fix it, right? And that kind of burns me a bit because I like to tinker with things.
Yeah, you're a tinkerer, and you have the algorithm of a tinkerer. That's why you have a Samsung phone.
Yeah.
I'm not inherently a tinkerer. I'm more of a clean lines, don't fuck with it kind of thing.
Like if a pump breaks at the brewery, I try to fix it myself before
Calling someone.
Yeah,
because that's in your nature.
Yeah.
My brother he just sold his Ferrari.
Yep.
He traded it for a McLaren. That's what he did.
I always thought he was getting an Aston Martin, but I know he used to have an Aston.
He used to have an Aston Martin. But when he removed his exhaust, because he got a custom exhaust or a aftermarket exhaust to put the original back on, he brought it to Ferrari to fix something. And they said, "Oh, you're missing a spring for the exhaust. It's $7,000." Or something crazy like that. And my brother's like, "What? $7,000?" And he called Pasquale at Lamborghini Montreal. He's like, "Yo, Pasquale, do you have any of those Ferrari springs that you took off?" He's like, Bro, I got a fucking whole box full. I'll just send you a couple for free."
But like, why? Why does it have to be $7,000?
Because it's those old. It's an old school thing, and as these new Tesla type companies emerge, which I always call them the Ubers versus the taxis. Once something with a cleaner operation, one that suits the customer more than it does head office, they're just going to dominate. And as long as you can keep providing value to your customers better than someone else can, you're always going to be winning. And that's what the beauty of evolution of technology is. Everything is really based on how much easier you can make it for your customers.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do in the garage door business, as I wanted to make things so seamless that anyone could plug it together, anyone could get it started. But like I said, to test it and develop it took millions of dollars. And plus, when your organization has been running things a certain way and the industry runs a certain way, not worth my time.
Well, yeah, because like Elon managed to start up Tesla because he had sold or still had his shares in PayPal.
He sold PayPal.
So
and what I love, and that can really resonate with PayPal, sorry to cut you off, he sold it and he put 100% of his money that he made into Tesla and SpaceX.
Yeah.
And he had no cash flow.
Yeah.
He had to ask his friends for money.
Yeah. That's why, like I said, there was like so many times you hear in the news before Tesla, I think even showcased the Model 3, like Tesla was always like, at least every quarter, it was always on the verge of bankruptcy for the longest time because it was like...
Yeah, it gives me a lot of... not solace is the bad one. It gives me a lot of comfort because honestly, that's as planned as I am. I believe in my future that I'm making. I believe in the companies I'm investing and all the stuff. But sometimes there's days where it's like things are looking a little too lean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then something happens and it's like, oh, we can breathe.
Yeah. Like...
But that's the entrepreneur world.
Yeah, it's always
how many
like
days
that.
where it's like, the credit card's kind of maxed out. I don't know if we'll fucking afford our barley today.
It's happened where a pump has broken. The one pump we have that to do a specific task, right? Because in our case, like some pumps are only used for the water because of the temperature requirements and stuff like that. And it's happened that my pump shit the bed and I had to wait for spare parts to come in. But I didn't have the cash to buy the spare parts, so I had to go and ask a family member to loan me some cash to fix the pump.
And
so I could,
fuck, it sucks, but you got to do it sometimes.
Oh man, like when you it is probably the most stressful is having to ask a friend or family member. I'm trying to do everything right, but all these things happen at the same time to lead to the perfect storm of I got zero in the bank. I need like $50 to be able to.
And it's so much worse for us to ask
Yeah.
And for them, they're like happy to help.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, no big deal, man.
Yeah, but you're just like,
I know, because it's our pride.
yeah.
It's our pride. We never want to be the people to ask for something.
Yeah.
Almost in a limiting fashion.
There have been so many times where I had to have Matthew and Vera jump in and be like, Thomas, I think you need a day off, because you're not actually doing anything at this point. So, and I was too prideful. I was like, no, I can handle everything. I can work 7 days a week for months on end.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw you when you were doing that.
Yeah.
And you looked like you lost 50 pounds.
I wasn't eating. People would do their intermittent fasting for like the 12 hours, or whatever. I was literally doing like 20 hours of intermittent fasting. I would scarf a meal at supper.
You look healthy now.
Yeah, because
Was it 6 months ago? Remember when I came in? I think maybe it was November when my friends passed away that day. Like I found out when I was with you.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
And side note, well, you were super skinny then, right?
Yeah,
You were fucked up skinny.
Yeah.
But it's funny, when I went to go take a piss downstairs, I was thinking about Annabelle, and Annabelle is Ryan's wife. And I was thinking, like, we did the podcast, and when her fucking husband passed away, I was asking if I could post the podcast, like busting balls. And I was just thinking, man, I should probably apologize because that was fucked up. I shouldn't have even bothered her at all.
Yeah.
When I came back up, I looked at my phone. She had texted me. I haven't heard from her since then. And she texted me, said, hey, love, can you send me the songs that we wrote together?
Yep.
And all that to say is like, there's a weird, we are more connected than we think.
Yeah.
But continue on to where you were we were talking about asking.
Yeah. So it's like, this is a message to any one of your followers, your listeners, even your brother's listeners.
I drank the whole beer, by the way.
I've been pacing myself because,
Yeah, I'm a fucking lightweight.
But sorry if I just burped into the mic.
It's okay, man. We're drinking beer. We're men here.
But this is to all your followers and everyone.
The trillions.
The trillions. If you're going to start a business, know your limitations and accept your limitations. I think that's the biggest thing that gets to everyone going into business. I've seen it with my father. With the restaurant, like when times were good, he was working like 7 days a week because he needed to make sure things were rolling smoothly, even though he had business partners. When times were tough, it was the same thing. He was the boss. He was going to the restaurant at like 6:30 in the morning and coming home at like 8 o'clock at night. That's for him was a half day. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
And how did that go for him?
A heart attack at 45 years old, stressed out until, COVID hit. And he's like, okay, I think that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
But pride is both a good thing to have, but it's also, I think, the biggest.
You got to be aware of it.
Yes.
You got to let it help you and not destroy you.
Exactly. But I think a lot of people get stuck in the pride aspect, like with too much pride, and then they can't let go of certain things. Like it was hard for me to realize that I might need to take a day off once in a while for my brother to brew a batch so that I could take a day off to like fucking do my laundry, go grocery shopping,
Yeah.
to relax.
Do your hobbies, pull a whack,
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
Exactly. By the way, I'm master of my own domain, but
Master of my own domain.
Seinfeld.
Okay, fucking love that.
But I think so. This is the message I'm trying to say to everyone. It's like pride is a tool to use, but also know that it's a weapon against you.
Yeah.
And it's that balance.
You got to be aware.
Yes.
You got to be aware when it's helping and when it's hurting.
Exactly. But also when someone comes to you and says, dude, I think you're overworked. Like you look like shit. You look like you haven't slept. You look like you were on a cocaine bender and you don't do cocaine.
You looked like you had AIDS when I saw you.
I look like shit.
You look like you weighed 115 pounds. How much did you weigh?
I honestly...
And you're like 6 foot, right?
I was like 135. I look like shit.
How tall are you? 6 foot?
About 6 foot. Like, depending on the time of day, I'm like 5'11" or
you're
6 foot.
You're 6 foot. I'm 5'8" when there's a cool breeze. There's a nice breeze and I'm on a mountaintop and there's sun shining on me. I'm 5'8".
Or a lower gravity planet, your spine's not compressed.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're a 6 foot guy and at 135, that's fucked up.
I look like shit.
You got to be at least 150 right now, right?
Yeah. At my peak, like this was university days with solid diet of beer and nachos. I was 175. And I was working out at that point too. But like when we saw each other in November and unfortunately the day that we found out the news about the
Lost Boys are alive. My LA crew.
The LA crew.
The Pelican and Brady.
Yeah, that's it. I think that was like, I had hit like rock bottom in terms of my personal health. You know, it was out of control.
That was before you brought on the new sales guy.
Yeah.
It was 6 months into COVID-ish.
Yeah.
6-8 months.
Yeah, something like that. The business had been struggling, like all businesses during COVID. You know, the uncertainty, just also the lack of social interactions because of lockdowns and
so it's like you get into this weird funk.
Yeah, exactly.
That just keeps spinning.
Exactly. And so I had reached a low point, let's say, in my health, and then it was just like a matter of like, okay, I had Vera and Matthew sat me down and said, Thomas, like, if you need some time, take it or whatever. Or I think it was more we instituted that, like, you know, if you feel you need to take a day off, just take it. You don't need to justify to the rest of us that you need a day off to like recoup and
really
reset.
Everyone's cool with it.
Yeah.
The big stress is on our own shoulders.
Because to be honest, I felt like even though my brother knows how to brew and Vera can help him if he needs the help, like if my brother can handle brewing, no problem. The guy is a fucking whiz at it just as much as I am.
And you know that the more you allow him to do it, the better he gets, right?
Exactly. But some part of me couldn't give him that opportunity because it was like, what if this goes wrong? Or what if whatever?
Yeah.
You know, like the what if.
It's that voice in our head.
Yeah.
That is, its sole purpose is to keep us where we are. Because we didn't experience death today. So in terms of the way it interprets data, that subconscious voice that we have, it wants to, especially when you're in low reserves,
yeah,
its voice becomes very loud. And all it tells you is, no, you need to control it. You need to do it. You need to stay. And what that essentially is telling you is do the opposite of what that fucking voice is telling you.
Yeah.
Because once that voice becomes loud and takes away abilities from other people and destroys you more, it's nonsense. It just means you're fatigued. You have inflammation. Time to go take a fucking nap.
Yeah.
Like the beautiful days that we had, you know, when we would fake a stomach ache and we would watch Wheel of Fortune. No.
Price is Right.
Price is Right. Price is wrong, Bob. I used to love The Price is Right. But yeah, they sat you down and you did your thing, and now your brother gets better. He gets more empowered.
Exactly.
Like the people that we think that we're helping by doing more, we're actually hurting.
Yeah.
Because
we're putting stress on them because
we're disabling their evolution and their progress.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing I had to learn was like by almost like poisoning my body by overworking myself. I'm actually putting more stress on Vera and Matthew because one, they're concerned about me just as much as I'm concerned about their health.
So you're stressing them. You're reducing their vibe.
Exactly. And then hypothetically, let's say I fucking break my back doing something and I'm out for 3 weeks now because I overworked myself and
they're worse off. They don't have the training to do what you were doing.
Exactly.
Because you never allowed them. But you have that awareness.
Yeah.
That's a magical thing.
And it took like also going to see a therapist to talk about these things because sometimes you need that third party who doesn't know everything. I'm with Vera and Matthew almost 12 hours a day.
They don't even have true perspective on you. They can just know when it's like, he needs a break.
Exactly. But I'm with them at the brewery like 12 hours a day, let's say, Monday to Friday. And so they see the stress. They're going through the same stress that I'm going through on a lot of things. And sometimes you need that third party, whether it's a friend or in this case, because of COVID, I couldn't really see friends. So I was seeing a therapist through Zoom or whatever.
But that's fantastic because you're letting it out. It's perspective.
Yeah.
And they're giving you an objective thing.
Yeah. And
objective view.
And the crazy thing is like a lot of people are like, oh, therapists are, they're just going to tell you what you want to hear. It's like, I learned.
Who the fuck says that?
I've heard people.
Someone who obviously is ignoring their own fucking mental health.
But because the thing about therapists is like just talking to them, you start hearing sometimes what you're saying and it's like, that sounds like bullshit. What I just said, that I justified in my head, I said it out loud to you and it sounds terrible. Like
it sounds like some beta shit.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck did I just say? And then you're like, oh, I guess I overthought that or whatever. And and going through something like that allowed me to retool myself and learn my limitations and also learn to appreciate that the company is not going to blow up physically or literally if I'm not there. If I'm not there for a day because I decided I needed a day off, I know that it's still going to run. that if a task needs to be done, Matthew could step in to take it, or Vera can.
Totally.
Or vice versa. So that was, I think, the hardest thing for me. And that's what led me to overworking myself, was that I always needed to be there.
Absolutely. And there's that component. There's you saying it out to someone who's third party objective. And you just saying it, realizing how bizarre it sounds, you experiencing your father and seeing how life has treated him when he worked too much, too crazy.
Yeah.
So all these things just come into alignment for you, and you're allowed to make, like, it allows you to make your own realizations that allow you to use the data of the past to improve your movement in the future, right?
Yeah. And so now, like, we make it a point that, like, on our days off, like, you know, unless something bad happens, like someone's injured at the brewery,
no access, no calling.
Don't go to the brewery at all, for whatever reason. Like,
but that's great. And I'm sure your parents are so proud because you are working in a next level. Like, you are the evolution of the way.
Yeah.
And your parents are an evolution of where they came from.
Yeah.
And where they came from was an evolution of where they came from. So it's a beautiful growth process.
Exactly. And it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. It's possibly, like, besides university, because university was fun and exciting just because of the drinking and the partying with the Squadron of Doom.
Yeah.
But
and we had a good time.
Oh yeah. But this business venture has been the most rewarding, the most stressful, yet the most enlightening.
Well, you got to pay to play,
years.
Right?
Yeah. It's been the most enlightening 5 years of my life. And would I redo it? Absolutely, because it was fun. I learned more.
You never know what to expect.
Exactly.
No day is the same.
The one thing I wish in hindsight I did was pay attention in high school chemistry. Because holy shit, there's so much chemistry that plays into beer making that I should have paid attention to.
Well, hey, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But no, I get it. And that's the most beautiful thing. Like, the stress is the payment for the reward of the fun.
Yeah.
Right? You always got to pay to play. You don't get anything for free.
Exactly.
And that's a beautiful thing, man. And you're doing it different.
And you know, we have fun with it too now. We have sometimes the liberty, like, to kind of change up the brand, not change the brand, but like
evolve it, try
evolve
new things,
the brand,
get fun.
Remember my brother last year was doing the mixology with Matt videos?
Yeah, I love those.
People would stop him on the street and say, yo, you're Matt from mixology.
Fucking
or whatever.
right, yeah, man. You make an impact.
Exactly. So it's fun things like that, like the baking with Vera.
By
the way, I'm forcing her to make some of those pretzels. They were fucking delicious. I'm gonna bring you some.
Okay.
They were some of the best.
Vera,
pretzels.
and I know Vera's gonna watch this or listen to this.
And she better.
I know she will, because this one should be the experiment of the fucking Canadian flag. All right. You want to talk branding? Let's talk branding, baby. Vera, this is for you. Let's do it. Because normally I fucking talk to Baloukas about it, but let's have some fun, man. Let's have some fun. I'll co-finance the fucking the thing. Let's make it happen. All right, Vera, I'm talking to you.
But that's it. So it's like having fun like that too.
I love coming to your brewery because it's such a good vibe.
I love having you there because
I have one beer, I'm fucked. I sit there, we philosophize, and I talk shit, and then I leave.
But then you also taste some of the beers that are still not on the market.
Yeah,
yet.
I get the R&D. I play you the songs that are not out in the market yet.
Exactly.
I love that. That's fun.
That's it. So it's always been a very fun and rewarding experience,
and it's growing.
Yeah.
Right? It's growing. It's getting stronger. It's getting better. More customers.
I honestly think that one thing that like affected my mood about it was there was a stagnation in the company, and it was, to be honest, it was, I think, on my part. Part of it was on my part because I was too afraid of the risk reward kind of scenario. You know, like every decision you make in business, there's a risk reward to it. But I was always very like apprehensive on a lot of changes, you know, like I said before with the changing of the can sizes and some other things. But at some point, you know, like,
let it be.
Yeah.
Let it be the river.
Exactly. What's the worst that can happen? We're done. What's like,
probably not.
No, but you know, like that, like the worst case scenario is it's done.
Yeah. So it's almost like a lesson in understanding that your gut reaction towards a new experience is probably nonsense. It's probably your subconscious mind, which is comfortable in the current paradigm. that is because like our body likes homeostasis. It likes to be where it is.
Yeah. I'm
That's-
probably the poster child for that.
That's why it's not easy to change, because we have thoughts and rationalizations that are limiting beliefs. But those limiting beliefs are just to show us that our ego is working.
Yeah.
And it's saying, well, you're venturing off to a place that I have no data on, so I'm going to try to convince you otherwise. But if you can use your rationalization or your rational mind, your logic, and some numbers and say, yeah, it's an educated guess, I can move forward. But you have been doing it.
Yeah. And that's it. And it's man, I wish I could go back in time. Hopefully soon with the Federation's technology.
Yes.
I'm hoping that, like, you know, I just sometimes I wish I could go back in time and just tell myself it's gonna be okay. Like, don't worry about it.
Actually, you can, and then we're gonna do this right now. Okay.
Okay.
So think of time as non-existent.
Okay.
Okay. So what you were then and what you are now is all connected in the same loaf of bread. The years are just slices of that loaf of bread.
Okay.
We think and within those slices are micro slices, which are the days. But if you look at the whole, let's say you're here right now. Let's say you're here. And the beginning of the brewery was here. All you have to do right now is think that thought, talk to your past self, and it's going to actually connect because it is the same organism.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, dude, it's going to be real good. Be like, Thomas Baloukas, Earth date, February 15th, 2017. Life will be great.
Yeah.
Life is great. And that's essentially how it works. We got crazy there, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's
a fun little.
Yeah. I think
because you're acknowledging that now.
Yeah.
Which means the work is done.
That's it. Because like to be honest, I mentioned about like how rewarding it was seeing those people buy the cans.
Yeah.
Another rewarding aspect is that I've had friends come to me and say, Thomas, you've inspired me. And I was like, me? Of all people, like me, like, you know, like it's because you started a brewery. So I took that and I'm starting my art, you know, going into painting and selling paintings, or going into music. There's other people I know that are doing music besides you. But it's like, you know, hearing this and I was just like, fuck, just from starting a brewery, if that was a hobby of mine, these people are now turning their hobbies into a business venture. And it's like, and they're using me as an inspiration to get started.
That is a definition of time travel. Because what is a time traveler meant to do? Meant to be the sunlight around the people there to inspire them.
Okay.
And that's what you did, Thomas Baloukas. You started your brewery, you're going through the grind, and you inspired people to try their own thing and create.
Yeah.
And do something and build. So that's it. You're a fucking time traveler.
I guess I am.
You are.
Well, what's my title again? It's Lieutenant Commander.
Yeah, Lieutenant Commander of the
9th Fleet.
The 9th Fleet. Yeah, good. I was testing you. Make sure you knew.
All right. I was testing you if you knew.
Of course I knew. I created the universe. I'm fucking Gene Roddenberry, bro. Trust me, I'm a doctor. All right, so we're 2 minutes 10 in. What do you want to do here?
2 minutes 10, 2 hours, you mean?
Oh yeah, sorry.
2 minutes.
2 hours. No, 2 hours 10 minutes in. So what do we do next?
I don't know.
Do we have a beer? One more?
One more?
I'm into it. Fuck it. We're with Louks Brew.
Yeah.
The beer king of Quebec.
I think Honey Brown.
All right.
I'm feeling the Honey Brown.
Cool, dude. Honey Brown next.
That's the Japanese. Honey Brown.
So should we do something so that, like, you're not allowed to send beer, right? Commercially, but can you send like a sample?
It's very tough.
Like you can't just like ship it?
No. We can't ship beer. So like every time we've done promotions.
Like what if I ship a beer?
You could get in trouble.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's so.
What kind of trouble?
It's like a fine and shit like that, but it's just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Is it a big fine? Like, let's say like.
It could be like up to 5K, you know?
Okay. All right. Fuck it.
It's so messed up. Like when we, last year we had like sent you, your brother and a few other influencers, like a little care package. We went and had to deliver it because we couldn't send it through the post.
Okay.
So it's kind of some BS stuff like that we have to
I
do.
get it. Look, alcohol rules. I get it. So how about you're in Quebec, right?
Yeah.
When do you get into Ontario? Is there a plan to go into Ontario?
There definitely is. It's the easiest way to do so is to open up another brewery, like a sister brewery in Ontario. It's because Ontario,
Really?
yeah. So, oh God, I think it's in the Charter of Rights and stuff like that. There's these old prohibition laws that prevent the actual import of beer.
Because of prohibition laws that were never updated.
Yeah, something like that. So if I produce a beer in Quebec like we do now, I cannot ship it to Ontario without paying Ontario like a beer license, distributor license or whatever, and then paying import fees.
So the cheapest way is to open up.
Yeah.
But is it cheaper? Maybe cheaper per unit, but globally because you'll have rent and you'll have fucking...
Yeah, like there's that thing, but then it's like... because then if you're like, for instance, if not, let's say we had a brewery in Ontario and we had a brewery here in Quebec, you can then import the beer that you produce in Ontario here to Quebec, no problem. Because it would be like, okay, well, you just couldn't meet the demand here to produce that beer, so you had to use your brewery in Ontario to do it. It's like
okay, so it's a feasible thing.
Yeah, it's feasible. But there's that upstart cost because to get into the brewing industry, it's very expensive. You know, we were looking at roughly about $150,000 just for the 3 brewing tanks and then the 1 fermenter and the carbonation tank. That's also with the setup of like, you know, putting floor drains and the warehouse.
But you'd be looking at least another 150 over there.
That's easily for the size that we started off with, but you know.
It'd probably be more.
Yeah. So you're looking at like $1 million just for the tanks to set up. And then you need your floor drains, you need your ventilation.
So maybe a little more growth.
Yeah.
And then.
Exactly.
Let's see how much you can beat up Quebec.
But the good thing though, there's this guy who, it's a story that's happening and it's going up to the Supreme Court now. There's a guy in New Brunswick, which is a small province next to Quebec. He drove over into Quebec, loaded up his car with Quebec beer because Quebec beer is cheap. And then as he was driving, I think he got pulled over for speeding or something like that. And then as the cop was walking up, the cop sees his car is loaded with beer. And like, you know, how many times, I don't know if you've ever shopped at Costco in Point Claire, but you would see Ontario license plates and guys coming out with flat carts full of beer that they were loading up because of how much cheaper it is here than in Ontario.
Okay, so that's a thing.
Yeah. But if you get caught by the cops and there's a particular cop who's having a rough day or a bad day or whatever, he can issue that.
He can exercise the law.
The law that you're basically smuggling beer through, right? So this guy is now fighting this good fight for breweries and for consumers because he's going to the Supreme Court and saying, I'm buying this product legally in Canada. Why do I have to go through this bullshit fight of interprovincial laws about a product that my Canadian dollars are still staying in Canada. So hopefully it's
moving.
It's moving. It's now up for review or whatever by the Supreme Court to see if it's actually legitimate because part of the charter says that within Canada there should be no interprovincial barriers. But then when alcohol is applied, there is. So it's like, well, which one's going to stand kind of thing.
Okay. So this guy's fighting the good fight.
Yeah, this guy wanted his cheap 2.4 of Molson Canadian.
And he's going all the way with it.
He's going all the way. God bless this guy.
Cheers to this
cheers
guy. What's his name?
I have no idea.
So this is the honey brown that you say is even sweeter.
Yeah.
Because I have a sweet tooth.
So this has more like a malty residual sweetness, whereas the Carina had like that hop sweetness. It almost tastes like a honey loaf of bread or something like that.
Yeah, it's very nice.
That's it. So
very nice, man. You know what's up.
I love experimenting with different things. It's like when I did the pumpkin ale. That I was on vacation that week that Matthew and Vera, bless their souls, packaged the entire batch of pumpkin ale by themselves. And, you know, Vera advertised like a day after, hey, we got pumpkin ale, and line up in front picking it up.
Fuck, people love that pumpkin shit, huh?
Yeah.
In the fall? Oh,
Yeah.
I love it too.
But-
Man, it makes me happy.
But we're not just bullshitting and saying pumpkin spice. We actually put pumpkin in there. I'm pureeing pumpkin.
Look, you're Captain America of the beer industry. You don't fuck around. You don't talk the talk.
So like
You walk the walk.
I'm sitting there like buying pumpkins and carving them up, roasting them, and then pureeing them and throwing them in the beer as it's boiling and stuff like that.
Which
So-
one? I think I love the Christmas one.
The winter one, yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, winter beer now.
So the winter beer, to this day, I've tried making small scale batches to try to actually make a red ale. You know, like Rickard's Red.
Yeah.
I still can't nail it. It's very tricky because you need the right amount of darker malts to give that red color, but too much, and then it turns to brown or like a black beer. So it's like there's a very fine line, and you
To
can
get the color?
Yeah, to get the color, and you can get it wrong. There's some malts, barley malt out there now that provides like that red color without having to use those, but I haven't tried that yet.
That's too easy, huh?
It's too easy, but I don't know.
So where do you want to use the red? For the winter?
So originally the winter ale was supposed to be a red ale. Okay. And I feel like I had nailed the color to it. But then when we were tasting it, we're like, okay, it's where it is, but like now for a winter ale, we need to like jazz it up, right? So, okay, let's put some cinnamon, let's put some ginger in there. Okay.
Some holiday spirit.
Some holiday spirit. Okay, we're tasting it. It's like, oh shit, this tastes like a gingerbread cookie. This is amazing. Like,
Color died.
no, color was still there.
What happened?
Then we're like, okay, now, because we added the ginger and the cinnamon, it became too dry. So we're like, well, let's add figs. So we add dried figs to the beer and it turned it brown. So that it ruined the red color.
Fuck.
So Vera was working on the description of the beer saying like,
Formerly red.
it's like, she's like, it's a red ale. It's like, yeah, Vera, you have to like get rid of the red part because it's a brown beer now.
Fuck.
But that beer sells, like we released it just in time for like,
Different sales when it was labeled Christmas versus winter?
Yeah. Because
winter has a longer...
that is the big thing when we
You
released
should
it.
sell in Alaska, fuck, or Finland. Winter all fucking year. Antarctica.
Yeah, but it's as a Christmas beer, you have a very finite time to sell it, right? Because then after Christmas, no one's really buying anything Christmas after
But
Christmas.
winter,
But in winter,
you should call it the winter blues.
okay,
February depression.
you got to sit down with Vera because the can is blue for the winter ale with like
Well, it's perfect.
snowflakes.
So she nailed it.
Yeah, but you should call it the winter blue. So you need to convince her on that too.
Well, I want to experiment with this because I think this one is so simple that, and it's made in Canada, has a great story. This one I would be excited to talk to her about. Not that I have any, I have branding expertise because from different industries and stuff, but I feel like you can really lean into the Canada thing here.
Yeah,
I love it.
but that's it. So it was just like,
And Vera's awesome to work with.
oh yeah, she is.
We have discussed business stuff. We've talked about the software to edit videos.
Yeah.
And she does a great job. And just to say, like, following Louks Brew is really worth it because there's fun content on it.
Yeah.
There's fun, engaging stuff. It's three happy people in a nice place. They're always working. She does a great job.
Vera always seems to know the right time to ask me to pose for a picture because, she's not going to ask me as I'm cleaning out the mash tun with all the sticky
She knows
malts.
what's up.
She knows.
That's why if she's listening to this,
Yeah. Oh, God. She gave me like a list of things what to say and what not to say. So
what not to say.
I promised her I'm afraid of her, so I'm not going to say what not to say.
Okay. Oh, didn't you say your mom had a message for me?
Yes. So a week ago or something like that.
Anna Baloukas, what's up?
Anna Adrianakis.
Oh,
She's not a Baloukas.
Okay,
She decided not to do that.
Hey, she's a first mover.
That's details that are not important. But my mom saw your post where you're doing your laundry. First off, your choice of music for that, spot on.
It was Metallica, right?
Metallica's perfect. I have no complaint on that. But my mom turns to me like we're having supper. And
How could you mix colors and white?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, you know how many moms reached out to me?
And she's sitting there like, tell him his shirts are going to turn gray. I was like, Mom, he could buy new shirts. Like,
Yeah, I know, but that's funny. Okay, that's always how I do my laundry. Unless it's like a load of whites where I put bleach.
Yeah.
For the most part, I throw everything in there
Because you're saving the environment because it's one load rather than 18 different loads because this one needs a...
Well, environment comes second. Number one is time.
Yeah.
It's like, what, I'm going to do fucking multiple loads and do this shit all night? No, I do it once. It comes out fucking clean. Doesn't smell like shit.
Yeah.
And I'm good to go. Do I care if the white's a little gray? Who gives a shit?
But you see, you don't care. I have to deal with my mom complaining that you're not doing it right. That's the...
Well, that's the spice your mom gets from following me. You know, 1 week is the guy off his fucking rocker. I'm definitely, but think about it like this. If you are like the average, you will only accomplish what the average accomplishes.
Yeah.
If you want to be outside the norm, this is Nick Saltarelli from Midday Square has really vocalized this really well. If you want different than average results, you must be different than average.
Yeah.
And so I really, really took that to heart when I do my laundry.
Because I remember in high school, right? Everyone's in their group niche in high school, right? And everyone's afraid of what others think of them, what others outside of their group think of them, right? Like I was at WIC,
or more so, what people within their niche think about them if they interact with people outside their niche.
Yeah. So like as much as we were friends from elementary school up until now, I think we became even closer friends in the last few years because, we're both adults. We have a different outlook on life. There's less pressure on us from.
You're one of the only friends that takes baths with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Fuck.
Not there's anything wrong with
that.
No,
nothing wrong, but that's not the kind of friends we are.
No. But so like in high school, right? I was into Magic the Gathering. So I had the group of guys like Farid and Kevin and Phil, and we were playing Magic and everything. And like part of me at the time was like, fuck, what does like Mish think of this? Because like you were more into skateboarding for a while.
Skateboarding and guitar.
Yeah. And our thing was like when we would hang out the few times that we did was like, okay, you'd play your guitar and we talk about music and Metallica and like Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. And so in high school, like, and this is to your viewers who are currently in high school, or some form of
school,
pre-university, whatever
experience.
Don't give a shit on what others think of you. If you're into like magic tricks or skateboarding or BMX or swimming or whatever, don't give a shit of what these people have to think of you, and don't think
because they don't even care.
They don't even care. But also, once you're an adult, it's cool to be a nerd on magic, or it's cool to be a nerd on comic books or movies or whatever. If you nerd out on a specific, on the fact that you're just going to buy and collect the guitars, not even play them, you just like guitars and you're it's a fucking cool thing. Be yourself, and I think that's a problem that we have as a society. Because when you go on Instagram, okay, I'm on Instagram and I rarely interact with things. Sometimes you send me a message because of something I've posted or whatever, and I post like once, like I think every 3 months, just to show people I'm still alive. But I see like when I scroll the general feed there, and I see like people showing off their cars or this and that and whatever, and their houses or whatever. It's just like, okay, some people look at that and I'm like, fuck, I want that. I want to be like that, but that person might not actually have anything going for them in a sense that they don't have a personality. They don't have a hobby to grow them or...
so their material possession is their identity.
Exactly. They don't have something like a group to belong in.
Like your Magic the Gathering group is a great group to be in.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? We were talking about like the success of a business is how niche it is. The success of a community is how niche it is.
Exactly.
So it's the same metrics of success. If you want to have a community and you want to be in Magic the Gathering, fucking enjoy it. Like, the analogy of a business model. It doesn't matter what your business model is. If your business model is to sell one beer a year for $1 million, if it works for you,
it works.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Right? Just like in any other business, if you, or forget that, Magic the Gathering, like in terms of like profitability or money, your metric in terms of friendship is like friendship, camaraderie, fun. Yeah. If Magic the Gathering is giving you camaraderie, community, fun, hobby, that is profitable. That's a profitable social business model.
Yeah. Because
So why fuck with that?
also like in high school, I was, embarrassed to say that I liked playing Magic the Gathering, even though at lunchtime we were sitting at the lunch tables and everyone's pulling out their cards and playing against each other.
And nobody really cares.
No, that's the thing. But like,
Well, because we have tribal wiring that says that, we need to, and just like you're saying, you can't appeal to everyone, and it's your life goal to like understand that that's okay. Most people have to pretend, like they're actually pretending that they're cool.
Yeah.
When in fact you are getting what they want. But you think when we're young that we're not cool because we're not like the cool people, when in fact the cool people are pretending to be cool, and us and our small group of friends are actually cool.
Yeah. Because like, what was it? I found out recently that Robin Williams, rest in peace, used to play Warhammer. He used to collect Warhammer.
How old is Warhammer?
It's like 30 years old or something like that.
And Robin Williams used to...
Yeah. Wow. And then a few years ago...
Because you're a big Warhammer guy.
I probably could have funded a second brewery with the amount of money I spent on Warhammer. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a good problem, but...
It's a good problem. It's better than other problems.
Yeah.
You're not fucking pulling the lottery machine, the fucking...
Yeah, the one-armed bandit.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
But... Robin Williams used to play Warhammer. Vin Diesel is a huge D&D nerd.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, I think it was like he wrote the preface on one of the expansions to Dungeons and Dragons.
Fuck. So is Rivers Cuomo of Weezer,
Yep.
which makes more sense.
But Vin Diesel, Mr. Fast and Furious and whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I heard something crazy, by the way.
What?
Speaking of Vin Diesel and Fast and Furious. There might be a spin-off of Fast and Furious and Jurassic Park. I believe they're both Paramount properties.
Do they want to implode the universe with like the
awesomeness,
absurdity?
Well, how much more absurd can Fast and Furious get?
No, I think they reach peak absurdity.
So now it's time to The only next step is dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Yeah. So like Vin Diesel is a huge D&D nerd.
And D&D, Dungeons and
Dragons. And I've played
That's
that
about
too.
as much as I know about it. Not trying to be cool, but I have my own thing.
Yeah. And then Henry Cavill, okay? Do you know the story about what happened with him and
Superman. Man of Steel.
He almost didn't get the part because he was raiding in World of Warcraft. He gets a call from Zack Snyder, ignores it. He's like, fuck this. I got to beat this boss.
Screams it.
He's like, man, I'll wait. I got to beat this boss. I got to get the loot or whatever. Finishes up, calls his agent then called him or something like that and says, yo, Zack Snyder's been trying to reach you. What the fuck are you doing? He's like, well, whatever.
Playing Warcraft, bro.
I'm playing Warcraft. He calls him up. He's like, yeah, you got the part for... So, and he's such a big video game consumer, Henry Cavill, that's how he also got the part for The Witcher.
The Witcher. Man, dude, he looked like a fucking beast in that.
Oh my God damn it, man.
That was a slow start show, but once it got kicking, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there were parts in that show though that even at the beginning made me laugh. Spoiler alert, when he throws the chain at that like ghoul thing to like tie it up, and it breaks loose, and his just reaction was like, "Fuck." That got me. That was just like,
okay. I like him. I like him. He's having a hard time with keeping that Superman role though.
Yeah.
The numbers didn't add up. Like the movies didn't perform. And as running a business,
so
they're talking about Michael B. Jordan as Superman.
Okay, I think Michael B. Jordan is a great actor. He his role in Creed as Apollo Creed's son. What's his first name in the movies? Do you remember?
I have no idea. I didn't watch them.
They're great movies because like the premise is okay. He's following his dad's footsteps.
Is Stallone in those movies at all?
Yeah,
he is.
Stallone is in both of them, and Stallone doesn't actually fight in them. He's just like his mentor.
Yeah, he's the Zordon.
Yeah,
he's the Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He's his Obi-Wan. That's where I was going with it. He's his Obi-Wan.
I love those kinds of movies, and I do love Michael B. Jordan. So
you should watch them because it's a very good like story arc of him trying to come out of his dad's shadow. Right, his dad is Apollo Creed, like one of the greatest fighters ever.
And Apollo Creed is actually in The Mandalorian.
Really?
Yeah.
Still alive?
He's Chubbs from Happy Gilmore.
Holy shit.
Not only is he still alive, he's directing episodes of The Mandalorian, and he's a character in The Mandalorian. What the hell is his name? I can't remember his name at all because I'm fucking drunk. But,
Yeah.
Sideline,
Okay.
I used to get drunk 5 days a week in my 20s
Yeah.
because I guess that's what you do in your 20s. Around 27, 28, I really started slowing down, learning about health, learning about this and that. And so I became healthier. I was like, no, I want a six pack. I want to be lean. I want to be mentally clear.
Yeah.
I understand the microbiome. I understand how we go. The only person that I get drunk with is Thomas Baloukas.
Yeah.
And Thomas Baloukas was the guy that I used to fuck up back in the day. So
Yeah.
this is karma because you used to come to Hudson, the town that I used to live in.
Yeah.
I used to weekend warrior it every weekend. And if you were coming in, if you were crossing that bridge off of Montreal into Hudson, everyone stays the night at the house because you're getting so blasted. There's no way you're coming back.
Yeah. Short add to this segue was I used to work at Toys R Us in Point Claire.
Oh yeah, the whole crew.
So
that was a fun crew.
Yeah. So I would leave Friday night, go home, shower after my shift at Toys R Us, and haul ass to meet you guys in Hudson, which by the time I got there, you were already all a bottle of Jack deep.
Well, what time would you come? Around 8, 9?
8, 9 o'clock.
Oh, that's when we got started, to be fair.
Or like maybe, I think the store closed at 9, so I'd be there like 10, 10:30 or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then
and I was hauling
that
ass.
hour was crucial.
Yeah. I was hauling ass in a Honda, in a Nissan Sentra too. So like that thing didn't
the
go fast.
Sentra. Fuck, I remember
That
now.
thing never went fast. Like it felt like the Starship Enterprise holding together like past 140, like bolt shaking or whatever. So I'd haul ass to meet with you guys, and you're already a bottle of Jack deep. So
Would this be at the original house, in my parents' house, or the Silver Valley Lodge?
The original house, Silver Valley. By the time like we were doing this heavy partying, like I think you guys were still renting it out to the neighbors that kept complaining about noise or whatever. Or was it ever rented out? I don't know.
No. Wait, where were we?
Like your parents' house, not Silver Valley.
Okay, when we were at the parents' house, it was loud, and my dad would come in with a scotch, and it's like my parents didn't give a shit that every Friday night we had 30 people over.
Because I think your parents were just happy that you guys
did it in front of them.
Yeah. Like my parents, at 16, I would have a beer or two in front of them. As long as I did it in front of them kind of thing, like you could keep an eye on me, it wasn't like a...
Yeah, and my parents were kind of involved. Like my friends would go hang out with them. Some people would go talk to my mom. My dad would be in there having drinks.
Exactly. I think your dad and your mom just like the social aspect of talking to people.
Yeah, and we brought tons of people all the time.
So I would come and haul ass like to meet up with you guys, try to play catch up, which you can't do with...
It's a lose-lose.
Yeah, it was always a lose-lose. But then I would stay the night because now...
Well, you have to.
Even you piss ass drunk, you're like, Thomas, you're sleeping over, no fucking driving home or whatever.
Yeah, drinking and driving was never an option.
No, that's it. So it was always like...
It would always be a, what do you call it? Cabs. Well, we knew the cab guys.
Yeah.
We paid them well.
Yeah. So, and then I would wake up in the morning, pop 2 Tylenol, chug a thing of Gatorade, and go to work my shift at Toys R Us, and then come back for the Saturday night fiasco.
Oh, fuck.
And then I think I did that for like 2 or 3 months, and then I was just like, I need a time off. Like
those were fun times though.
Yeah.
Innocent times.
But that's why university was so much fun.
Yeah. And university, not as in the schooling, but as in the era.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You have your only responsibility is whatever part-time job you had. In our case, like our part-time jobs, to show up and not be fucked up and do your job right.
Yeah.
At least pass your classes in school to make it worthwhile for the tuition that you have to pay to get to.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Go. At least pass.
It's the same as me. It's like I'd show up to work sober enough to get what I needed done.
Yeah.
Get straight B's, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I was once I figured out how it worked, it's like, okay, these 5% assignments that take 2 hours every Sunday that count for 5% of the whole grade. I just won't do them.
Yeah.
Because fuck it, I'll just do better on the final.
Yeah.
Which, in hindsight, if I practiced those things, I'd be better. But
yeah,
fuck it, I still passed.
That's it.
I got my degree, and I was the drunkest I've ever been in my whole life. I have a degree in commerce, and I was fucked the whole time.
Look, I studied history. I got a degree in history, and I own a brewery. Like, who the fuck would have thought that, right? Like,
Hey, if you look at history, the Middle Ages, I think for 300 years in England, people were drunk.
Yeah.
Kids were drinking beer.
oh, of course, it was safer to drink than water.
Yeah,
So,
I like it. I like it a lot.
so that was the thing, and then like university was so much fun, and then like at one point, like the Howler and I. He'd like text me like, yo, where are you? I'm like, I'm walking between classes. Like, meet me at Reggie's. Fucking go to Reggie's, drop $3.25 for a pint of beer with him, slam it back, go to class. Now I'm buzzing because I haven't eaten. I'm drunk.
The Howler, what a legend. Does he know about Louks Brew?
I don't know. I haven't seen the dude since.
You should reach out to him and just bring him like 2 cases.
I don't know. The dude's got a kid now. Is he responsible? Like, he seems like he's responsible.
What do you think? The Howler's an old world man. He's like a Donald Draper kind of guy.
Okay.
The Howler is very responsible. He is a great provider. He's a wonderful guy who works and keeps up his commitments. But the Howler is the Howler and will always be the Howler. So I think you should definitely deliver him because I think from what I know, he still works right by the airport at Initech Innovation.
Initech Innovation? Holy shit.
It's right around the corner from you.
Oh, fuck. I'm going to go knock on the window.
I'll connect those dots.
But yeah, it's just like the whole crew and everything. And my favorite story was I had just finished my exams, and it was like a brutal where I had like 3 exams in the span of 2 days kind of thing. And I couldn't get exempt because there was actually a 24-hour time period between the 3 exams, more or less. So I call you up. I'm like, dude, I'm burnt out. I've just finished my last exam for the semester. I'm coming to Hudson. You're like, gotcha. It was just me, you, and Pat Desi.
Oh. Yo, he's my neighbor. I just moved into a new place. He's my neighbor.
Oh, fuck. Here we go again.
Yeah, no, the times are different, but they're not.
Yeah. So it was just funny because like we get to the Chat, which for your...
I might make the Chateau a place in the comic book universe that is perhaps a place of portal or a place of intergalactic like.
So it's like the webway almost like it's like the
I might want to talk to you about developing this storyline because you have such a rich knowledge of comics. I might need to consult with you.
Let's do it.
Sick.
Let's do it.
So it was me, you, and Desi.
Yeah. So we go to Desi's house. We have a drink each.
In his basement. At his parents' house, way back in the day.
So it was tame like this because it's only 3 guys. We're going to get fucked up at the bar. So we have 1 or 2 drinks, call a cab, and go. As soon as we get to the Chat, it was like something magical that you two had like suddenly like crossed that threshold going up the stairs where it's like now you're in another fucking dimension or whatever. You both walk in to the Chat and split like the Red Sea, and I lost you guys for the rest of the night.
You didn't see either of us?
No.
What?
You guys kind of left me. Like there was other guys from the crew that were there that I was drinking with or whatever, but it was just like the both of you for the 4 hours that we were there split like the Red Sea. And then at like 3 o'clock when lights last call and whatever, you text me like, yo, we're waiting outside for a cab. Come. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like it was just so random. Like you both walk in and boom,
and you lost us in like a time portal.
Yeah.
Like we went to a different place.
Yeah.
But when it was time to go, we took care of our own.
Pat is a tall dude. Like he's taller than me. So he's pretty easy
big and jacked.
Yeah. At the time. Yeah. Cause like
he still is the same.
Yeah. But back then everyone was like all about, working out at the gym, drinking, and that's it pretty much. So Desi is a tall dude, pretty easy to spot in a crowd, right? And like
and you couldn't find him?
I couldn't find the fucker. Like he disappeared. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Was it a packed night?
It was.
Oh, I fucking love Friday night for
sure.
Yeah,
it was always a Friday night.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like I was like, what the fuck happened? Like we came as a crew, or you go one way, he goes the other, like fucking bats out of hell kind of thing, and you guys just show up like 3 hours later at the night, like, oh, we're fucking leaving. And we're like, all right.
That makes me think of something. Remember the winning era?
Oh, I still have that shirt.
That's it. I don't.
I still have that shirt.
Those were great shirts, huh?
That was...
Well, look, I've been developing with my brother in the entertainment company a project for a TV show. And you know who we're reaching out to on Monday? I don't even know. I shouldn't even say it, but I'm saying it.
Charlie Sheen.
Yes, sir. There is, we might, the Menares brothers might be the guys who revitalize Charlie Sheen. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm excited. Okay, so
our great partner, John, who is our agent and like production partner, is helping us pitch projects that we're developing.
okay.
And he found an angle that perhaps would work with a certain director and Charlie Sheen.
So I have to admit, I'm very fortunate because you kind of dropped me a little more snippets about certain things than you do online to your other followers
sure,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So I have like a little more. This is the one thing I don't want you to tell me anything until like if it goes through and there's an episode. I want it to be completely secret.
Yeah. Like
I'm like super excited about this now, whether it happens or not.
Yeah.
Like,
look, it's so crazy it might work.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're saying, like Quebec, Canada, all that, like choosing your niche, the port.
yeah.
Charlie Sheen is currently untouchable by Hollywood. Like, not untouchable,
He's unwanted.
unwanted.
Yeah.
Unless he shows some track record and then people like him again.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr., before Iron Man, as in my brother's words, was a disgrace.
Yeah.
Until Iron Man. So
Yeah.
we are, because we love Nick Cage.
Yeah.
We're working on stuff that maybe, you know, and then Charlie Sheen would be just, it's like, we just want to revitalize careers of old heroes of ours.
But that's the thing. Like, look, Robert Downey Jr., you know, I think Marvel gambled with him to play Tony Stark. I think he took that opportunity to redeem himself and show Hollywood that he could be serious.
Yeah.
And now, you know, if in 10 years from now they decide to reboot Iron Man with another actor, I'm sure that actor is going to do well because Marvel has money to make sure that they find
They
the
know what
right
they're doing,
replacement.
man. They're amazing. Kevin
But-
Feige is unbelievable.
But to me now, because I grew up with it for 10 plus years, Tony Stark is
Iron Man.
Iron Man, but it is Robert Downey Jr. You know,
Yeah.
like
He's more Robert Downey Jr. than Iron Man.
yeah, but it's like, so I think that was one of the best redemption arcs in Hollywood.
It was a
You know,
beautiful story.
Yeah. And it worked out for the benefit of himself, Robert Downey Jr., and for the fans of Marvel, right? Because that started, like, everything I think was more or less banking on Iron Man doing well in theaters. And then it did well, so they're like, okay, let's start working on the Avengers.
Yeah. And let's build this up. And the first one was just a trial run.
Yeah.
And so that's why.
He only made, I think, like $2 million.
Yeah,
on
and
the
in the
first
last
one.
movie he made like 80.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it's if you have what I noticed that Hollywood is no different than a bank. You have to show track record.
Yeah.
And and Elon is a pioneer, sees the future before the future happens. The banks don't see the future before the future happens.
See it now.
They see it now. He sees it now. And they see it. He sees there.
Yeah.
They see now. When you want to, if you want to make a mark in the world, you have to bank on something that you believe will happen.
Yeah.
And a guy like Charlie Sheen is beloved. He's beloved, but currently his stock is low.
Yeah.
Because of XYZ. And a standard production company or entertainment company will not invest in him until he's showing that he has the stuff.
Yeah.
The way that I operate, whether it's selling the business or getting into music or investing in companies, because that's what my brother and I do. We invest in companies that before they grow.
Yeah.
And we have the foresight, so why not just apply that? Like, I see that Charlie Sheen is a very lovable guy. People love him.
Yeah.
But there's no track record yet.
Yeah.
Same 2 years ago when we developed the Nick Cage idea, Nick Cage has been blowing up ever since. Like, he's all over the place now. So, but it takes that initial person with the balls, and I would love Charlie to be back on top. Because he's a legend. He's a young
Charlie, you heard it here.
Charlie Sheen. Well, odds are within a month I'll have a meeting with him.
If nothing comes of it for this project, there is potential in the future for another project with him in mind, right? Like,
Well, because I believe that he's great, that he is he's lived enough where he's experienced and gone the ups and downs where he knows how to conduct himself accordingly.
yeah.
And just like Robert Downey Jr.,
Yeah.
they have an excess of talent and charisma that is so insane that they never really had to learn the rules of life because they were just so amazing.
Yeah.
But then they hit their downs, they learn, and then when they come back better than ever.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
I'm excited to see what comes of it. You know?
Yeah, and it's like we never know. We never know, but that's the beautiful thing about venturing into new worlds.
Because like you're one of the last 2 podcasts that you did with Trin, you mentioned Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, by the way.
Dude, it makes brewing so much easier listening to your podcast.
Oh, awesome.
Because like there's a lot of times when I'm brewing, I'm like, fuck, I gotta clean this tank. It's like janitorial work most of the time kind of thing. So at least listening to, some sort of philosophical ideas or like just business ideas or whatever, it helps make time pass, and it also makes me think.
Cool.
And I just remember one time I was talking to you, I was like, yo, man, I started listening again to Chocolate Starfish, the whole album. Like, fuck, I just met Fred Durst like 2 weeks ago here. And then you showed me a text message thread with him. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Fred Durst, like, I listened to this guy in high school. I used to wear the extra baggy pants.
And the backwards red hat.
The backwards red hat. I used to try to skateboard and like listen to Nookie and My Generation or whatever. I'm like, fuck, Mish met Fred Durst. And then you're like, the dude's super mellow. He's not like what he is in the music videos or whatever. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is super
Yeah, how
weird.
crazy. Like, reality is creating itself. And all you had to do was let go of the thing that you thought you needed. And then you start going into a world where there's like unlimited possibilities.
Yeah. And that's it. It's for him, his venue was Limp Bizkit. He got some fame and notoriety for good or bad, whatever the case is. But
there's no such thing as bad publicity. And he did amazing.
Yeah.
He was such a legendary frontman and such a legendary marketer. But he was able to he was fucking the biggest nu metal band. And
they were huge. They took the mantle from...
They still do stadiums and like amphitheaters and like crazy festivals all over the world.
But that's it.
They're an amazing band.
Dude, I still listen to them and like, okay, maybe back then at the time they were like a certain style or whatever, but like I still listen to them. They're eclectic, like
when I heard Nookie the other day on the radio, or on my it came up on Spotify. I'm like, holy shit! Like, not the songwriting, the energy, the production, the guitar playing.
Yeah,
this fucking bangs. It bangs like a System of a Down song bangs, except without the political stuff.
Yeah, dude, I started listening to System of a Down again because my brother. Like when we have a shitty canning day, because everything goes wrong on canning day.
Okay.
It's just the way it is. Canning is the worst aspect of brewing. From start to finish, canning day is the one
When
day.
can you outsource that?
I don't think there is a way to outsource it because you still have to be present on canning days to make sure it's going right. It's just canning day is the worst. Like it's the industry.
How often do you have to do that?
We're at least doing it once a week.
Okay. And it's always a shitstorm.
Oh, fuck. It's like, it's the one day I wish I didn't exist.
Okay. And you listen to Limp Bizkit or what?
And sometimes we put on, well, because Vera's there with us, she always complains that whenever we play Metallica, it's too angry, aggressive. Okay. It's like, wait till you listen to some of the other stuff I listen to. But one time she wasn't there, so my brother puts on System of a Down. And I like for a period I had kind of not listened to them. I think I had outgrown them, but then we started listening to them we listened to them again, but with my brother there, it was like, fuck, I got back into it. It was amazing. It was like, it reminded me of the high school days too. And like, remember, like what made me remember was on Tuesdays on Much Music, there was always a new music video for a band or an artist that would come out. And like, every time there was a new System of a Down one, it would come out. And then the next day, everyone who was a System of a Down fan would be like, yo, did you check out the music video?
Yeah,
It was so
Ariel's
cool.
was insane.
Yeah. So that's it. But it's just like.
But you see, like, not to cut you off, which I did, but System of a Down, you either love it or you hate it. And it's definitely not for everyone.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit, not for everyone.
Yeah.
But were they successful?
Of course.
Because they were not for everyone. So you see the correlation of success and not being for everyone? Yeah. The more you are for everyone, the less successful you'll be.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And it was something that I didn't convey properly before was that like, as an artist, you can make it in any medium that you're good at, right? If you're good at literature. You know, you're gonna make
Painting,
it.
writing, this and that.
Yeah,
But you
you're gonna
also have to have the business foresight and the entrepreneurial
Yeah.
quality, like that Fred Durst had.
Yeah.
That Madonna had. That
Yeah.
P. Diddy had.
Fuck,
that
Madonna-
Serge Tankian had.
Madonna now, I think, probably makes more money just from slapping her name on a fashion line or
sure.
anything than any music she has ever done.
Yeah, because the music was just the vessel to build her. It
Exactly.
was like putting out her charisma.
Exactly. And as much as Kanye West, I'm going to use him as an example because you've mentioned him in the past.
Legendary.
The guy, his first few albums, I'm not a huge rap guy, okay? Like, not a huge rap guy, but his first few albums are fantastic. I still listen to the songs from them from time to time. I think he was ahead of his time for what he was doing rap-wise and stuff like that. What he does on camera and certain things like, you know, talking to Donald Trump and having his rant about Donald Trump being the best or whatever, it was like, whoa. Like, okay, you lost me there, Kanye, but I could see
another iPhone jack example.
Yeah, but he's done other things that, like, he partnered with Adidas to make Yeezys. I personally think the shoes look
Weird.
mediocre, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. But the fact that there's people who are waiting in line for days to get a chance to buy a pair that might not even fit their feet. Like, they're buying them
To resell them.
To resell them or just to collect them.
Yeah.
So they're willing to buy a pair of shoes that they can never wear because they're a size 10 and they're buying a
Because
size
it's like
8.
they're buying gold or a
Yeah.
cryptocurrency or something.
And all Kanye did was come up with one pair many years ago with Adidas. And now it's to the point where it rivals Jordans.
He's now a billionaire.
Yeah, it rivals Jordans. You know, that's genius.
But he built his name
yeah,
for 10, 15 years at least,
yep,
and he built up a brand so that when he released limited models, this is what happened.
yeah. There was a documentary about hip hop, like the start of hip hop and stuff like that, that was on HBO a few years ago. And I remember one episode where they were talking to the guys from Run DMC. So this is the mid 80s.
Cool.
Run DMC comes out. And the thing about Run DMC was they wore those white and black Adidas.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the guys on the crew was wearing them without laces and the tongue fully out, the other guy fully tied or whatever. And they decided, you know what, let's try to market this and partner with Adidas. So they invited Adidas execs to one of their concerts, and then they told everyone in the crowd to hold up their Adidas because they have the song My Adidas.
Yeah.
So everyone in the crowd holds it up, their Adidas. They meet with these execs after the show and say, okay, let's partner. Because now these execs see a stadium
influence.
of 30,000, 40,000 people.
All wearing Adidas.
So it's a business model.
Of course, that's what it is.
Like, I think Wu-Tang Clan is worth $1 billion because of just their outside of
Their brand, their licensing,
Exactly.
their T-shirts.
Metallica. I love these guys.
Me too. In every way. Lars is insane.
So, we could spend hours talking about each song, dissecting each song that they've got done. I'm gonna say something controversial. I think Saint Anger is a good album.
I love it.
It's just there's certain things I think they did a good thing trying that album. You can't grow as an artist without experimenting.
But it's
on
another
things.
example of pulling that aux cable
Exactly.
out.
Exactly. So that being said, Metallica was supposed to be that garage band. They were like they were said to be like never to get outside of like the small, club venues or whatever. They are the biggest heavy metal band
In the world. Yep.
They sell out stadiums. They've done stuff that has pissed off a lot of their fans or whatever. But you know what? They're still selling albums.
They keep going. They keep selling. They keep growing.
I was at Heavy Montreal when they came back in 2014. Okay, 70,000 people at Parc Jean Drapeau to see Metallica play. Okay, it was like insane. Like the crowd was like 35,000 people in front of me, 35,000.
Oh, I love it. That inspires me, man.
And there was all creeds of people at this heavy metal concert to see them. I saw guys. I was just wearing a white T-shirt and jean shorts, and my Jordans. That's it. There were guys wearing polo shirts and like khakis, There were the typical metalheads with the studded leather and whatever. And all together, we were together enjoying this brand, this Metallica, you know, like the band.
This feeling, this energy.
Exactly.
Those guys.
Exactly. And that's what I hope to see you in the future.
But that's the idea. It's the long game.
Yeah. And like, I don't even want to be in the crowd. I want to be on the side.
Oh, you will.
I want to be on the side watching you interact with the crowd. You know, like the backstage view of you interacting with the crowd. Because I think that's a big thing about music is the interaction with the crowd. Like that same concert that Metallica was there, Anthrax played. Their frontman was like amazing. The guy had so much energy interacting with the crowd. Dropkick Murphys. I think that's the big thing about music is interacting with the crowd and building the brand that way. You know, like I went to go see Justin Timberlake. The guy is phenomenal. I think by far one of the best concerts I have ever seen. Did he do anything special? No. But from time to time, he was interacting with the crowd. He was enthusiastic. And
he just had it. You know, Hetfield has it.
Yeah.
Timberlake has it.
All these guys have it. So that's how you also build the brand.
Well, yeah, it's just putting out your charisma and your vibration constantly. Just constantly putting out.
Because that's a problem I have with the brewery is that I don't like being in front of the camera. So when Vera tries to catch me on doing things, I sometimes purposely fuck up things because I don't want to be in front of the camera. Man. But my brother, I don't know if he likes it or not, but it seems like he has more of a natural energy with the camera. So that's why he's always usually like.
So why not? He's still a Baloukas.
Yeah.
Everyone has their role.
I don't know. I like to just be like the troll.
James is the front man, but.
Yeah, Lars is the brains of the operation.
But Lars is the voice, really.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we going to do here? Are we going to keep going? Because I got to piss so bad again.
I think maybe we'll end it.
Okay.
If you need to piss like that third time in this podcast.
All right, so what do we got right now? We got Louks Brew. We got Thomas Baloukas. Where can they find you? We're going to put all the links in the description.
So they can find us in... You know what? I think it'd be easier to check our website to see where we're at. So,
well, I'll just put the links in the description. Okay. You'll find it. Louks Brew.
Yeah.
It's great.
You can visit us at the brewery from Monday to Saturday. Actually, Wednesday to Saturday. At 777 Avenue La Joie in Dorval, Quebec.
Perfect.
We're like a stone's throw from the airport.
Stone's throw. Yeah, and this is if you're in Montreal.
Yeah. And then you can find a beer usually around Quebec as well.
Amazing. So Thomas Baloukas, thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a great guest. Thank you for bringing the beer. Thank you for everything.
My pleasure.
And I can't wait to go piss now.
All right.
All right, so I'll be right back. But fellow time travelers, you know, a like, a subscribe, a follow, a share goes a long way because we want to get this out to even more trillions of Galactic Federation members. Thank you all for hanging out. The new album, the best album of the century, is coming out next week.
Next week?
No, I mean this summer. I'm just fucking around.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming out. I would be working on it more right now. But it's coming out this summer, summer 2021, best summer ever. And I'll see you all soon, fellow time travelers. Thanks for hanging out.
Keep it real.